Right, let me put some music on. 1 second. I know it didn't connect to my damn phone if I just. Oh, never mind. Okay. Hey y'all, happy Friday. I'm hopping on just because I felt like it. Oh, you got the shirt? Child, I done wore this shirt into the motherfucking ground. I can't remember where I got this from. I think it might have been Fashion Over or something. Hold on, let me try to. What's tea? Hold on, y'all. Well, that's too dark. I'm trying to bring the light up. There we go. But yeah, child, I done wore this shirt into the ground. I got a green one. I think I got another one too. I really feel like goosebumps. It was like a specific one in childhood used to terrify the fuck out of me. It was like a watchtower or something. What's happening? Do we got a connection issue or something? What is happening? You're fucking up the vibe. Oh, it's spinning. Is you cool? But anyway, I was hopping on. This is about to piss me off. You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and turn this off. Okay. Hey, Memory. I was talking about you the other day because I loved your intake. I loved your intake. It was well thought out, girl. You need to get on here and tell these people how to do it. But no, I wanted to hop on because I felt like I feel good today, you know, like I had a really good day. I had a really good session with my client today. Um you know what? You're not about to irritate my spirit. You're not about to irritate my spirit. Yeah. Play with somebody else. But anyways, listen, I'm claiming a spot, period. Um, I did realize though, we did kind of like reorganize a little bit just because I was worried about missing this third wave because the whole purpose of me doing this and the work that I've been doing up until this point has been to prepare us for this third wave that's about to wake up March 2026, April 2026. And so I realized we're starting in January and closing enrollment in March, like I'm going, like that's a month before people start waking up. And so I think what I'm going to do is do it with the energetic cycle, which the masculine cycle starts in April, you know. So I think I might push back the start of school into April, but I think between January and March, we're just gonna like get the app together, like launch the app January 16th, get people like passwords and stuff like that. And if there's any kinks with the apps or stuff like that, just give myself time to kind of figure out that shit. Hey Lisa. Um, Figure out like the kinks and stuff that we gotta work through. And plus, in April, we'll have more energy. Like if I start in January, that is the time where we are the most asleep, the most like the furthest away from ourselves. So I decided that yesterday when I had my meeting with my priestesses. And so I think what I'm gonna do is people who open enrollment is still gonna be the 15th. So people next week we're gonna reach out to people to start setting up consultations. There's certain people that we won't need a consultation for. We're just gonna tell you you good. You know, you just have to pay your initiation fee. And then as soon as I get an initiation fee, I'll send access to the app so that you can make your profile and stuff like that, which I'm really excited about. And then I'll probably end up getting rid of Patreon. And if you want to be a part of the app, you don't have to be a student. You just can go on the app and I'm going to be probably going live there more often. But yeah, I'm excited about that. Hey, Mage. So yeah, so I think from January to March, what I'll do is just invite people into the space if they want to come into the space at least once a week where we just talk. And if there's any questions that you guys have for school coming up or any things you want answered in school or, like book recommendations, music recommendations, things like that. Like I just kind of want us to get to know each other first before we start into the jumping into the school part. And how school works is it's a 9-month spiral, 3 weeks on, one week off each month, 2 sessions a week. And it'll go from April to December each year. And then if you want to continue on to the intermediate after the beginning, it'll start again in April. So you'll have 3 months off from January, February, and March, which is when we're the most asleep. So that time you can't really learn. It's about more. Oh, girl, the time is past, sister. Sorry, my mama is calling me, but I called her hours ago. I'm busy, girl. But anywho, so each year that you're in the program, you'll have January, February, and March off because that's when your energy is the most unconscious. And so it's going to be a time for you to reflect and spend some time integrating and things like that. And then if you decide after the beginner, you go through the beginner spiral. If you decide to go into the intermediate spiral, you can do that come that April. And then there's an advanced spiral, and it's just that's just for energy consciousness and awareness, because I think I'd need to teach people about energy first, and then I'll start offering different classes and stuff through the school. And I actually have priestesses and stuff who will be doing classes on dream interpretation, doing classes on astrocartography eventually, doing classes on womb health and stuff like that. So I'm so excited with it. Will you have links for this on TikTok? Oh, absolutely. Because I'll still be promoting it and talking about it as I have it coming up and stuff like that. But I'm really excited about the app. The app is almost completely done. It's just like little nuances, stuff that I don't understand because I'm not an app developer, and so you have to be able to search in every single page and you have to be able to do all these things. And so, hey, Jayla Boo. You have to be able to do all these things. And so I'm trying to get the functionality together. So I think that first 3 months is just going to help us figure out if there's any kinks or any things that we need to get, that we need to look at within the app. And then I also wanted it to be a moment of presence because teaching people presence, how does it look when we just come together and we don't really have an agenda, or I can't offer you nothing, you're not offering me nothing. We're just sharing each other's space, because I really want this to be a community and an energetic container. And so those from January to March, while you have access to the app, I want people to come in and start hosting lives and just talking to people, just kind of how I hop on here and just whatever comes up, like that type of energy. So yeah, that's where we are right now with that. I really wanted to start in January, but it's just I don't want to miss that wave of people that wake up. I feel like that defeats the whole fucking purpose if I don't wait a little bit longer. And so hold on. I don't want to slow jam. I really genuinely don't. I don't know if I want to make love either. Anyways, so yeah, so I'm really excited because it does give me more time just to get my ducks in a row. I want to make sure that this is a great experience. When it comes to the content that I'll be sharing within the Soul School, I cannot wait to give it to y'all. I already have it planned out what I want for spiral, the beginners, advanced, intermediate, advanced spirals for those. So I already know what we're learning in each section. And right now what I'm doing is just getting the practices together, because there's somatic practices that I want to incorporate at each level, and aura reading and stuff like that. But I think the first beginner section is about laying the foundation so you actually understand energy, because when you understand energy, you understand everything. You can meet people and they have the same energy or spirit on them as somebody else that and so when you know energy and you have better awareness, you know how to navigate. You're not just a fish out of fucking water. Nobody can ever fool you, which I think is, taught through discernment. You just got to practice. And I think we need to be strengthening our intuition like we strengthen any other muscle, so I'm really excited. I have some really fun things for us to do. And I also want people's feedback too, because I want it to kind of be our school, not just my school. I want everything to come from up here for me. We'll be looking at songs and we'll be looking at We'll be looking at movies. We'll be looking at all like books and all kind of stuff and like analyzing it and reading the energy of that. I think also one thing that I added in recently was interviews, like interviews that stars do and stuff like that. Because I was watching the Diddy documentary, right? I have thoughts, but not today. But I was watching that documentary, and there was one point in the documentary where they asked him, like, "Hey, do you know what happened to Tupac? Basically, has anything happened? Do you know anything about that?" And his energy immediately contracted, and he was stone faced. Avoidance is what that is. Avoidance, energetic avoidance. And so I think we also need to look at real life examples through interviews. And so it's like Spirit is constantly giving me ideas for this. And I think I don't know if I just have the full thing yet. Like it's a breathing, living spiral, though. It's supposed to grow and evolve with us. But I just thought that would be interesting too for us to watch interviews of people. Like for instance, that interview with Gail, not Gail. What was that bitch back in the day? Who the white woman who was always in our motherfucking business? What was her name? Like was it Barbara? Barbara? You all know who I'm talking about? Swear I'll watch interviews and be knowing when people capping. Yes. Yes. So I forgot what the white lady's name is, but it's the interview. Nancy. Yeah, it was that interview, not Barbara Walters. It's Nancy, is her name. But she was basically asking, was it Barbara Walters? See, now y'all, no, I think it was Nancy. I feel like her name is Nancy. But the little Bob, white girl, Nancy Grace. Yes, yes. Anyways, so it's the interview where she's talking to Whitney, and she basically telling Whitney that she did crack, and Whitney was like, "I done made too much money in my life to ever do crack. Crack is whack. Crack is cheap." You know, you could see Whitney's anger in that video, and also like just even watching Olivia Dean. Like Olivia Dean is a UK singer right now, but when she's singing a specific song, what the fuck, especially not the one that you love, whatever that song is, when she's singing it, when I'm listening to the album, I can't feel her anger. When I watch her perform it, I feel her anger. You know, like it's almost like a disappointment. Like you feel deeply misunderstood by the partner that you with. And it's just like, you know what, at this point, if I don't say it right, I don't give a fuck no more. Right? It's when you're trying to convince somebody to understand you or trying to show somebody what you have. And so I've been collecting clips of that too, because how I have the app set up is like when I go live, I could put videos behind me and I could put pictures behind me so that I could kind of teach y'all with like a screen type of situation happening back here, you know? And so I want us to look at clips together and see if we could read the energy, you know, like, and see if what we pick up on in body language and just energy, you know? So I've been doing that. I've been putting the library together because there will be a library, and I've started downloading books that you can't really get in a lot of places. But I started downloading books, and like I have my priestesses uploading books as well. Not right now, but we will. But like getting together what it is that they want, you know, to be a part of that. And so you can get a library code, which will give you access to the library, and it'll contain all of our previous recorded sessions in case you miss a session. It'll also have documents and books that you can read, just all kind of stuff, because eventually what I want it to be is like a platform where you can come and have a spiritual community, a platform where you can come and watch movies that have spiritual themes. And like maybe eventually, like if somebody has like a review on the movie or something like that, like posting a review and getting other people's opinion on it or things that they saw in the movie, and just kind of start a conversation where we're constantly in community with each other and interacting from a spiritual lens, you know? So I want it to kind of be like a safe spiritual space. And so even if you're not in school, in a spiritual school, you can still have an account, you can still access the library, you can still, you know, find books that you might not find in other places, or watch movies that you can't find somewhere else. Like I kind of like the Gaia channel on steroids. That type of thing. I'm real interested in the study of people's faces and tying that into spirituality. Yes. So I used to watch this TV show back in the day called Lie to Me. And it was like a guy who used to read people's facial expressions, and he was like hired by the government to kind of help them to figure out terrorists and shit like that. Right. And like he was teaching like a professor at like a college or something like that. I don't know if y'all ever watched this, but this show is kind of old, like 2000s ish era, right? But I learned a lot through the show because they be putting real fucking shit in the shows. And as a person who like was hyper vigilant growing up because I was trying to stay safe, like I can pick up on people's clues, you know, like when somebody ain't saying something, they jaw kind of like clench or like, you know, anyways. But it taught me a lot of stuff. And so we'll be looking at episodes from there. We'll be looking at episodes from Supernatural when we start to talk about like egregores, like that was covered in like season 1, episode 18. You know, also when we start talking about what we consider to be demons, but what that energy looks like. I had an experience that is just like Supernatural. So it's just like they're putting it in the TV shows. We'll look at Avatar. We'll look at The Legend of Korra when we start talking about the spiritual realm. Like it's just I'm excited. Like I'm really excited. It's been so much that's gone into this because I just want it to be fun. Like I don't want it to be like no fucking you come and hear me lecture for 11 minutes. And you know, I want it to be like a place that's fun learning, that's stimulating, that's something that's interesting, and I want to build community. And so in those first couple months from January to March when we're not really doing anything, like I want us to introduce ourselves and get to know each other. Like when we're not doing anything, like get to know each other for real, because these are the people that are going to be with you for the next 9 months in this spiral as you continue to learn and grow. And there's also like group projects and stuff that we'll be doing as well, you know. So like analyzing a song or analyzing a movie or reading a book and doing like a report on what it is that you understand now that you didn't understand before. I don't fucking know, but I want it to be fun. I want it to be interactive. I want it to partner with different people in the group so that when you walk away from this experience, like these are your people. And then if you come back for the next spiral, because you can take a break between beginners and intermediate, or you can take a break between intermediate and advanced, because it's like we have a 9-month on, 3 weeks on, 1 week off for 9 months, and then you get 3 months off, you know. So if you want to take a break, you can, but if you don't and you go all the way through, you'll be with the same people, you know. And so it's like you get to build community with those people. And then eventually if people want to hey Callie, if people want to enter into the spiritual space, and maybe like you're a person who does herbalism, or you're a person who does astrology, or you're a person who does that, and you want to teach a course or something like that, I'm even thinking about like opening up space to do that as well. So I kind of want it to be our community, like a shared community, you know. So yeah, that's what I got to say about that. I'm really excited though. Like I'm right now, I'm really happy with where I am and the planning of it. Every day I'm doing something on this. And going through applications and just all of that. Like I really, really love the care that's going into this, you know. So, and the people that I have around me that are helping me with this, like I really think we're gonna work amazing together. And so I just can't wait to share this with y'all because it's gonna be tea. It's probably gonna be like I even looked at other soul schools or spiritual schools or whatever out there, and it's just like I don't know anything like this. Like I don't know about anything like this. And I think especially too because I not only did I learn through books, I also learned through experience because I was getting my ass beat by the spiritual side for about 2 years. You know, so I think my perspective on stuff is just a little bit different. But I also want to create a space where other people can share their perspective as well, because it's just like everybody's experience of this reality is going to be different. The wisdom that everybody holds is going to be based on their ancestral line and how long they've been here and what they've been through and things like that. So it's like I want to create a space for people who are deeply misunderstood, people who are gifted, people who are felt people who are choosing to do things in a different way, because I think that there's a level of loneliness that kind of comes with being the one who decides to do something different, because everybody's treating you like you the fucking problem because you're not accepting of the trauma and shit that they accepted. And it's almost like, well, how dare you speak up about this thing? And it's like, well, why aren't we, you know? And so I think that family is chosen sometimes. And I want to give people a space for them to come and be fully allowed to be themselves, you know? And I love this for you, girl. You have grown and came so far. Now you got your own school. Period. Thank you. I love this for me too. I love this for everybody involved, to be honest. I think right now I'm at probably like 71. I got to add some more people to the list of the call sheet, but I'm at like 71 applications right now. So that's fun. That's interesting. I like going through the applications for sure. Just trying to figure out the right, make sure that we have the right people in here, like people who are actually willing to do the work, people who are willing to do the hard things, people who are willing to sit in uncomfortable energy, people who can open up space for people who have differing opinions. Because I think so many times we think that uh, growth is separation, meaning like we just cut people off just because they believe something different than us. And I honestly think that no, we need to learn how to stop being so emotionally fragile. I think we need to learn how to hold different perspectives and hold nuance and not be in this place of constantly trying to get people to agree with us. You don't need them to understand you. You can witness somebody else's opinion and not make it mean anything for you or not take it personal. So it's like I want to teach us how to learn how to witness again and like move from this non-judgmental ass fucking place, because there's a lot of people who think they're not non-judgmental but actually are. And so I want to teach us how to mirror and how to witness each other and how to give each other grace and all of the things. So I redid my application because I felt like I didn't do it right the first time. Yeah, I seen that. I'll have to look at the new one though, because I haven't looked at the ones that I received this week. Glad you got active on Facebook. They not ready for you on there yet, LOL, but they gonna catch up. Yeah, like something was telling me to get on Facebook. And so I just linked it to my Instagram, and I've been posting like little random videos because I went viral on Facebook a couple times and I wasn't even the one posting it. And so I was just like, you know what? I'll just post this and just see, maybe there's one person I can reach or a couple people I can reach. And I just tied it to my Instagram. So I've been trying to post like old videos on Facebook. But eventually I'm not gonna post everything on there. Like I honestly just feel like as I continue to grow, Facebook will just be attached to my Instagram and I can just kind of like throw it on there. But I do appreciate your support though. I've been seeing you liking my videos and leaving comments and stuff. I truly appreciate that. But yeah, they not ready. They all looking though, but ain't nobody liking nothing. Ain't nobody interacting. But they definitely looking up in my business. I need to um I need to do my hair this weekend. But anyways, that's what I kind of wanted to talk about today, was just like let y'all know that what I've decided about moving the start date and stuff to April, just because a lot of people are going to be waking up during that time and they're not going to know what to do, or have a safe place to land. And so I wanted to kind of create that safe space, um, just to help the people. So it's 3:43 a.m. in Cape Town, and there's orbs in the sky. Oh, period. Take some pictures. What do you mean orbs in the sky? Like what kind of orbs? Like colorful orbs? How do I play to your school? Yeah, so you just go to www.bigtajj.com. So Big Taj with two J's.com. Click where it says Soul School underneath my picture on that first page. And then it's an intake. It's just 10 questions asking you, really just trying to figure out like your capacity to witness yourself and stuff like that. But it's just an intake. It's completely free. Oh damn, y'all look. I done burnt the edge of this damn bag. Yes, absolutely. What y'all want to do today? Y'all want to do some one question answers? Because I feel like I haven't done any psychic readings that were not the cards in a while. Anybody got a question that they want me to look into? Sugar. Confessions really was like a once in a lifetime type of album. Anybody want to do some one question answers? No, I have not heard Chance the Rapper's new album, but I have not ever really been able to get into Chance the Rapper. Like I liked him like a while ago, but I don't know. I haven't been able to get to him in a long time. Hey, Patrice. I was told to listen to Wale too. I think my tolerance is just so different right now. Like of like the music I'm listening to. Like I'm definitely listening to a lot of like uplifting, people who know their self-worth, they value and stuff like that music. Or like music that I feel like it's like manifestation spells. Like this is the motherfucking spell, bitch. I'm on to you. But I need that, you know? I ain't like him like that. But his album after his divorce, he woke up. Oh, so he did get a divorce. Oh wow. I'm gonna have to listen. Because I like music that make you feel something. Like I feel like the music in today's generation, sometimes I just be like, you can tell that you're zooted up. You can tell that you're dissociated. Like you're not even making sense right now. You just went in there and did anything. So yesterday I was looking at the moon and seeing the rays get bigger and grow, but then I seen an aura. Oh, thank you for bringing that up, memory, because hey gang, thank you for bringing that up because every time that I've been watching the moon, and right now the moon is like right over my house until like 7, 8 o'clock. I can see layers within the moon. Like I can see layers, and it's like this blue glowy layer, but then there's some red and some orange and some. And so I was only seeing it at first when it was like the crescent moon, like the half. Not crescent is not half, but you know what I'm saying. Like it's not the full moon, and so I was seeing like multiple layers within it, and I was like, this looked like a fucking like a like the inside of a flashlight. Have you ever looked on the inside of a flashlight? It kind of looked like that. And so I was like, okay, that's weird. And so when I went out and looked at the moon yesterday, it was the same thing because I could see it fully. And I at first I didn't see it immediately, but so I don't know if that's me jumping into my mind's eye and I just don't realize that I'm there. But I see layers. Like it's almost like I don't know. But I agree. Oh, see, I didn't see no brown or nothing, but I saw like I was seeing like red and orange and yellow and like it looks like it has like 7 layers to it or something. This is my first time seeing an aura, I believe. That's interesting though, because then why would everybody be seeing that? Like I don't know about that. Me and you need to link. I have a 10 book series that decodes the Bible. Would love to send you a copy. Okay. Just send me a DM. Hey, Empowered by Jackie. Have you ever heard or talked about telluric currents? No, what's that? Let me look it up. What's a telluric current? Known as earth currents, a natural electric current that flows through Earth's crust and mantle, as well as across and under the sea, resulting in both natural and human induced causes. These currents are characterized by extremely low frequencies or traverse large area near Earth's surface. No, I haven't, but Earth has its own meridians. It has its own dragon lines and ley lines. Like dragon lines are basically what the Kundalini energy of Earth kind of moves through. But I've never looked at any currents in the crust of Earth. But I do know that dolphins specifically swim across Earth's song lines and keep us at a specific equilibrium. But that's pretty much all the information I know about that. They want me to be on a Drew, come on now, words, Drew Hill type of vibe so bad. Hey Maria, I thought it was interesting. I've been getting into it. Y'all have to look at it. I'll have to look at it. But I'm excited about this new wave waking up though, like March 2026, April 2026, because that means that Earth is rising into a different frequency, and it'll be easier for a lot more people to channel. I feel like, but a lot of us don't realize that we're channeling all the time, and we don't know how to integrate, and that's why we get emotionally overwhelmed at different times of the year, and we don't really understand the origin of that, or like the origin of why we're emotionally overwhelmed, and it's because of your crystalline nervous system is taking in more light. And so I think a lot of people are going to need some help around that time, and so I'm kind of excited for that period to happen because I think a lot of us are waking up, and I'm building this energetic this soul school to try to help us to find a place to land. Oh, never heard about the dolphins. Yeah, dolphins are guardians, and so are octopus, but some octopus are out of alignment. My Saturn return is next year, trying to get in alignment bit by bit. Do you have any advice? Yes, I do. You cannot think your way through a feeling. You have to actually feel it again, which means that when you're trying to understand an emotion, you need to sit in it, not think about it. Does that make sense? Because Saturn kicked my ass. I'm not gonna lie. I waited to the very last minute when it came to my Saturn return, like the very last minute, like literally on the brink of death. And it sucked, but like it sucked so fucking bad because I had not looked at myself at all. I had not even dared to look at myself. And I just entered this period where I was crying all the time. And I know I was crying and I was overwhelmed. And I was starting to realize that I felt used up by the people around me. And I felt like I couldn't say no to nobody. And I was struggling with communication. It was just like so much coming at me at one time. What I would say is over this next year, really look at your belief systems and try to figure out what belonged to you and what belonged to your parents, what belongs to society, and how you actually feel about it, and reorganize how you show up based off of that. Also would say look back at your values, because really values come before belief systems, because I think our belief systems are built on our values. And so look at your values and what's important to you, because if you don't know what's important to you, whatever it is that you are doing in your reality is based off of what's important to somebody else, right? Which could be your mama, society, whatever, so you really need to figure out what you value and what's important to you, and anything that's not that, say no. And you're going to feel guilt. You're going to feel shame for doing that. The first couple of times that you do that, if you don't disappoint them, you'll disappoint yourself. Okay. And so look at your values, look at your belief systems. Okay. And your belief systems come through everything that you do, how you show up, how you react to people, And so when you feel triggered, or when you feel like you're judging somebody else, or you rejecting or trying to separate yourself from something else, that means that there's a belief system there that you hold that you need to relook at, right? When you're triggered by something, that means that there is a root cause of that trigger that you need to look at. And that's how you do the work. And so what I would do is this journal every single day to kind of help you with the shadow work, right? Hold on. Let me go to my class real quick. 365 days in a year. All right. So every single day, I would look at this. Before, at the end of your day, what triggered me today? You need to journal. What triggered me today? Because journaling helps with emotional alchemy. Okay. Emotional alchemy is turning an emotion into wisdom. Okay. It's moving something from one state to another as well, which means taking it from the inside and bringing it out. Okay. You need to take it from the inside. Don't try to figure it all out in your head. Take it from the inside and bring it out. Okay. So every single day, at the end of your day, what triggered me today? That's question number 1. Question number 2, what story did my mind create about it? Because what you got to understand about the mind is that the mind is supposed to help you to bring things into form. It's supposed to give you the possibilities of something. And if you're so used to being in your mind and trying to figure things out with your mind when that's not even your mind's job, it's just going to be looping in a process trauma and fear. And so your mind is always making up a story about something. So say, for instance, you're in a grocery store, your kid knocked down all the cereal boxes. You turn around and you yell at your kid. And then all these people are staring at you and you start to feel shame. Your mind makes up the story, I'm a bad mom. But what that shame is actually telling you, hey, that yelling was out of alignment with your soul. You need to choose another option next time. That's it. But your mind is going to tell you, I'm a bad mom. I'm a horrible mom. I'm a this, I'm a that. Your mind's always making up a story. What's the story? Okay, that's the second question. Third question. When else have I felt this feeling before? Because it's not the first time. A lot of times when we reacting in our environment and when we trigger, it's not the person standing in front of us. It's everybody who made us feel that way. And that's why sometimes our reactions are so volatile. And it's because we reacting to 30 different people who had us fucked up, and not just this one person. But this is the person that's standing in front of us. And so we're going to make sure they know that we not to be played with. And so when was the first time that you experienced this? Because if you can get to the root cause, you can figure out what you needed to know back then, what needs when they're met back then, and you can meet those needs now. You can tell yourself what it is that you needed to know back then, because we don't understand that you can fix the past in the present moment. You don't need to keep going back to the past to fix it, because you know how people get stuck in victim loops and trauma loops because they keep reliving the past. They keep telling the same story, and the brain can't tell the difference if it's happening right now or before. Yeah, that's you operating out of the shadow side, but you can also use that same concept to operate out of the positive side. And what I mean by that is all you do is got to go back in your head and reimagine the ending of the event. If you didn't speak up, go back and see yourself speaking up for yourself, because your brain cannot tell the difference if it happened back then or if it's happening now. Right. And so your imagination is one of the most important things about you, because your imagination can help to clear past timelines. And so if you go and do that and you visualize yourself speaking up for yourself in a moment where you did it, right, you repair That part of you that fragmented back there, and that version doesn't exist anymore. Okay. So what else, when else have I felt this before? Go back and imagine a different ending. That version of you no longer exists in your field no more. Okay. The fourth question is, what's the deeper unmet need here? Okay. And I want to give you some advice. If you feel anger, anger is the protective side of you. Anger is not the unmet need. Anger is not going to help you get to the unmet need. Anger is just a part of you that wants to protect you. But underneath anger and also avoidance, underneath both of those energies is another energy that's likely my feelings are hurt. My heart was broken. I felt betrayal. I felt abandoned. I felt alone. The things we don't want to feel. The things we don't want to feel is underneath the anger. You got to get the anger out the way. Right? So what's the unmet need? And then you need to meet it for yourself today. Right? So if you felt alone, how can you show up for yourself in ways that you don't feel alone? If you felt abandoned, how can you not abandon yourself today? You can set healthy boundaries. You can communicate when you need to communicate. You can tell people no when you need to tell people no. Right? And so you are responsible for meeting your needs as an adult, but the child you still exists in your field fragmented and is still looking to have that need met outside of itself. And so you got to say, you know what? Go back and do the visualization. Tell that version of yourself what it needed to hear, and then meet your needs today so that that version of yourself now trusts you and it can integrate and your body can feel safe again. Right? So what need when I'm met? Okay. What do I want to experience instead? That's what's going to help you. And you need to start doing that right now. Things that help you to experience that. Right? What decision? This is the last question. What decision did I make that day? The reason why you need to ask yourself this is because that decision that you made that day where you felt that trauma or you felt whatever, it didn't work. So if you chose silence, next time you need to speak up. If you chose regression and withdrawal, next time you need to show up. If you chose denial, next time you need to hold yourself accountable. Next time you need to speak your truth, right? Because 9 times out of 10, if it left you triggered, it didn't get you close. Whatever decision you made that day, it didn't get you closer to what you want to experience. It didn't. So if not, what decision could I make right now to get me closer to what I want? Because most of us in society, we focus on what we don't want. We don't focus on what we actually do want. Right? When you talk about your values, you need to figure out from those values what you should be experiencing in your reality from those values. How would you feel if this value, if you operated from this value? Because if you do it based off of, well, money, I just want $1 million. And you don't focus on the experience. I want to swipe my card without looking at my bank account. I want to be able to work from any place in the world. I want to be able to travel to any place that I want to. If you focus on an outcome like money and not an experience, which is what happens in the middle before you get to the money, you're always going to be in this chasing energy. And I would rather you measure yourself based off of the things that you value and you experiencing things that you value instead of an outcome like money, or I'll be a millionaire. I'll be the best teacher in the world, right? You're going to miss all the things in the middle and not appreciate all the things in the middle if you do it that way. You got to focus on what you want to experience and what you want to feel, and then grade yourself based off of that. If I'm swiping my card and I don't got to look at my bank account, I'm doing well. Because if you put in your mind, I want $1 million, then from the moment that you say that, every single moment after that, if it's not $1 million, you're not going to be happy with it. Right? And so you need to figure out what you want to experience and what you want to feel. And so that's the kind of work that I would be doing between now and my Saturn return. You don't got to go back and look at everything in the past. Just figure out what's triggering you right now. Figure out what you're judging in other people right now. Because usually people are holding up a mirror to us. Whatever we're rejecting in them in some capacity exists inside of ourselves. And we want to separate ourselves from it. Right? We want to avoid it. We want to say, well, that's not me. Right? When in all reality, anything you see is you. Everything is you, right? And so follow those prompts, figure out what you value, figure out what you believe, and align your action around that. And the last piece is make sure your thoughts and your emotions align with what you do. If you get a thought in that says, I want to be a spiritual teacher, right? And when you think about that thought of being a spiritual teacher, it makes you excited. Okay, the thought and the emotion align. What action can you take today to get you closer to that? Because if you're not doing nothing with it, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Because you need to get yourself in the energy of doing it, and you need to be excited and experiencing joy and peace and willingness in that energy. Okay. But if there's an underlying fear there, and you say, I want to be a spiritual teacher, but you don't think that you're adequate and you don't think that you're enough, then you're going to be repelling that thing, And so it's best if you stay in this present moment and you learn how to nurture your mind too. You need to reparent yourself. You need to remother yourself. Treat yourself how you would treat your best friend. If you saying some things in your head that you wouldn't say to your best friend out loud, and I even suggest that whatever you're saying in your head, start saying it out loud. Because when you hear it out loud, you'll realize how fucking crazy it sounds. And then check yourself when you need to check yourself. Give yourself grace. Grace is a really high frequency that most of us don't know how to reach. Grace is a high frequency, but grace comes through you feeling your emotions. And a lot of times we can't reach grace because we don't know how to sit in the uncomfortableness of our emotions. And we too busy trying to think our way through emotions when that's a whole nother language. Your mind speaks in thoughts, which is the language of your mind is thoughts. They're electric. They're limited. Your body speaks in feeling. And the only way for you to understand a feeling is to sit in stillness with it and let it reveal, which means it takes time. It takes patience. It takes you sitting in the uncomfortableness of it. But so many of us are terrified of feeling the thing. As somebody who teaches people how to read their body as a map, I can't tell you how many times I would show them how to feel it and they get out of it real quick. And I'm like, what happened? Oh, no. I saw this person and I feel like this. And then all of a sudden they crying. And I'm like, okay, well, let's go back into it. No. You have to allow yourself to feel it to heal it. The only way, because you don't understand the capacity of how you felt in that moment. So y'all want to do an exercise real quick? Let me know. Drop some 444s in the chat if y'all want to do an exercise to see where you are when it comes to feeling. What you say? I realized voice recordings are better for me because I would not be consistent with journaling. Voice recordings are fine. Like, as long as you get it from the inside out, you're perfectly fine. It could be as simple as you talking to your best friend, you talking to your mama, you talking it out with somebody. But I would suggest like video recording, video journaling, writing journaling, whatever works best for you. Okay. All right. So somebody put something that triggers you or something that you feel like a lot of people deal with in the chat. Fear of inadequacy, anger. Like it can be an emotion or it can be a fear of something. Drop it in the chat. Shame. Oof. Shame. Ooh, scarcity is a good one though. Let's do scarcity. Let's do that first and then we can do shame. So I want y'all to close your eyes. Everybody close your eyes for me. And I want you to just listen. Okay? Close your eyes for me. Okay? You are floating through space and it's completely dark. There's nothing above you, nothing below you, nothing in front of you, nothing behind you. You are floating through nothingness. And nothing can reach you in this space. You are completely safe. Focus on feeling safe in this space. Put your attention on your heart space and imagine the sun glowing bright at your heart space and feel your body getting warm. Feel every muscle in your body start to relax as you feel into the safety again. You're completely safe in this environment. Take a couple deep breaths in and then breathe out all of the air in your body. Breathe in again and breathe out all of the air. One more time. And breathe out all of the air. Know that you are safe. Know that nothing can reach you here. I want you to see a door appear in front of you, and I want you to go and place your hand on that door. Before you enter that door, I want you to feel that sun at the center of your chest, and I want you to push from your chest all the way down your arm and push love into that door. If you need a visual, love looks pink. Push that love into that door and know that you are safe to see or feel whatever is behind this door. Then I want you to open the door and I want you to step in and shut the door behind you. Think about the last time where you did not have money. Start to feel it in your body. How did you feel? Were you anxious? Were you scared? Put your attention on your body. What's happening inside of your body? Now I want you to scan your body from head to toe, and I want you to feel where the tension is. Know that you are safe in this space. Scan your body and feel where you hold that tension when you feel like you don't have money. And as soon as you get to that area where you're holding that tension, I want you to go into that tension, and whatever memory comes up, whatever word, whatever color, allow yourself to experience it. See it fully. Know that you're safe, and give yourself permission to see what memory lies there. And whenever you're done, come out of it, but give yourself time. Whenever you're done, come out of it and drop what you saw in the chat. Know that you're safe. You're not alone. I'm right here with you. Allow yourself to see that. Allow yourself to feel that. Because it's within the feeling that you truly understand. What's sitting in that tension? Okay, the gray sky. What did the gray sky feel like? What was the feeling behind it? The color green. What did the color green feel like? Myself as a little girl not having a meal to eat that night. That's some good shit. That's some good shit right there. Emptiness. Oof. What else did you feel within that emptiness? Where was it coming from? Did a memory come up for you or just the sky? Imagery is helpful too. Anxiety in my gut. Now, Keisha, thank you for saying that. Do you know that your stomach is responsible for how you process information? Which means that if you have a hard time processing life, you're going to have stomach issues. Okay? And so there's probably something there in your stomach, the anxiety in your stomach. There's probably a memory that's sitting there that was really hard for you to process, Keisha. Shame, not being able to get my daughter a shirt for a dance. Yes, memory. Good job. Shame. Shame is a huge one because I think a lot of us don't understand that we operate from shame, and that shame sounds like, well, I should be somewhere else right now, right? I should be further along than this, right? That's what shame sounds like sometimes. Or you beating yourself up in your head, you shaming yourself, right? You shaming yourself. Did anybody struggle to get into that place? Did anybody feel any tears coming up? Shame is the guardian of the inner temple. Shame isn't just a trauma residue, it's a gatekeeper emotion. It arises when the inner essence is being dishonored, masked, or exiled. It's misunderstood as weakness or proof of unworthiness. But really, it's a message that you are living outside of your integrity or covering your true voice. I saw green and not able to pay my bills. Okay. Green is the generous side of love. It's more of like that maternal love, that love just for the sake of being. And when I think about our worthiness, which is held in our heart space, right? It comes from that green energy. So there's a feeling of unworthiness there, Lisa. Good job. Right? There's a feeling of unworthiness. I was scared walking to the store again, homeless. Yes, Sarah, good job. A little struggling with my daughter when they were little. Yes. I have tears now coming up. Let that move through you, because what you don't understand about crying is that's how you move energy. So if you think about a storm, what happens? There's a buildup of energy. Have you ever went outside right before a storm? It feels very tense. You could feel the storm coming, right? And then have you ever went outside after the storm? Feels very light. It feels very clear. It's almost as nothing ever happened. Crying is how you move energy, right? And so you have energy stuck in your body. Crying is how you move it out. Okay. Worthiness in my heart that I wasn't enough. Yes, Nicole, good job. The feeling of not being enough, the feeling of unworthiness. Why? Because what do you think we've tied reality? Hold on, slow down. I got excited. Hold on, let me slow myself down. Okay. We live in a society that has made money our master. And money determines what you have access to, what school you can go to, what type of education you have, where you live, if you have a place to live, what you eat. It rules everything. And so there are so many of us who have tied our worth to money, how much money we have. And so we're constantly in this energy of chasing money, right? Because what we really want is freedom. We want freedom. We want access. And in order for us to have that in the society we live in, we need money. And so we think if we don't have that, we're not worthy. When you were born worthy, you're inherently worthy. Abundance is your birthright. But this society has taught you that in order for you to get money, you have to do more, right? And so it ties your abundance to effort when you naturally magnetize, right? And so it means you got to do more in this physical reality, which means you're in a masculine energy, which pushes you into your mind. And that energy is meant to put things into form. It's meant to push energy out, which means you're always in this energy of repelling, which means you're always going to be in this energy of chasing when you are naturally magnetic. But your magnetism comes through presence. Do you know what that is? The divine feminine, right? And what have they done to women in this society? Because they don't want you in your natural magnetism, because it doesn't help them build their systems. They can't siphon your energy to build wealth for themselves because they're in a masculine energy. If you think about everybody who is at the top of the top, are they not narcissists? Are they not selfish? Are they not greedy? Are they not stepping on the people at the bottom? Right? Because they're in a masculine, they're in a pushing out energy. So if they can get you to do the work for them, then they don't have to do it. And that's why they got to keep you where you are. But what you don't understand about yourself is that you're naturally magnetic, which means that if you can get into the energy of presence where you're not trying to do anything or become anything or figure anything out, you enter into the energy of receptivity, which pulls things towards you. But in order for you to get in that energy, it requires trust. It's hard to trust that things are going to work out for you when your livelihood is on the line. Because it's not like you can just sit at home and do nothing, because then who's going to pay the bills? You're not going to be able to survive. They created it like this on purpose so that you never learn to trust yourself and trust in your field to do the work. And if they can damage your worthiness, then you're never going to do it because you don't think you're good enough, right? You don't think you're good enough to do it. Okay. I was at my old house. My ex was telling me I don't do enough. Okay. What did you start doing? You probably started trying to do more. I remember when I was a kid, my aunt told me I was selfish. And so I tried to prove to her, right? Because we think we just got to do more. We got to give more, right? Because that's what society tells us, which is a lie. But that's us pushing out energy. And so we say, okay, let me prove to her I'm not selfish. So now I'm everything to everybody and nobody's anything to me. I don't need anything in return. I'm just doing this because I'm proving that I'm not selfish. You were never meant to prove, convince, or show people, or convince people of your worth. You were never meant to do that, because when you start doing that, that pulls you out of alignment with yourself, because your worth doesn't come through how much you can give or how much you can do. It comes through who you are as a person. So many of us have tied our worth to money when our worth comes from our depth, right? But they're not going to tell you that, because in order for you to get to depth, you got to be able to feel. And if you're able to feel, then you can magnetize. Do you see how that works? Right? I struggled to feel the emotion. Okay. You might be disconnected from the emotion, and that's okay. Created heaviness in my heart, color green, being alone, feeling not capable. Good. Wow, cool. That makes sense. Ooh, sorry. Would you be willing to put this live on YouTube? It will be on YouTube, my love. And would love to be able to take notes on what you're saying. Yeah, all my lives are on YouTube. I'm recording it on YouTube at the same time. YouTube is on my computer right now. For so long, I felt that I was not good enough since I was a kid. A lot of us have, because we didn't have money. I grew up having to boil water to wash my motherfucking ass. Okay? I used to have to stay over my auntie house, and it wasn't nothing but rats. It was more rats and roaches in there than it was humans. Okay? So I get it. So what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes again. Close your eyes again for me. And I want you to go back to whatever memory you saw. Go back to that version of you. And I want you to give them a hug. I want you to tell them what they do not understand. If they don't feel enough, tell them that they are enough. That their worth does not come from how much they have. Look them in the face and tell them that you're going to be okay. And that I got you moving forward. I'm going to take care of you. You don't got to worry about anybody else and how anybody else view you. You only need to worry about how we view ourselves. And I want you to pour love back into them. I want you to empower them. I want you to tell them that they are safe, and it is okay for them to be safe, because whether you know it or not, that version of you still lives in your field. And every time you don't have money, it comes forward. That version comes forward and emits a signal. And that signal comes from fear, which means it's repelling the money that you're trying to bring in. Okay, so I want you to tell that version what it needs to hear. I'm gonna give y'all a couple minutes to do that. And when y'all done, I want y'all to come back and put 111 in the chat for new beginnings. And then I'm gonna continue on with telling you what I gotta tell you. Tell yourself that you're safe. Tell yourself that your worth comes from who you are, not what you have. Good. Feel that version of you relax. You can even see that version of you dissolve back into you. Good. Now, the reason why this is important is because what we don't understand is that time does not move. Time does not move. We do. And what that means is there are multiple timelines that we exist across. And depending on what frequency we hold, we tap back into those timelines and we move in between those timelines all the time. And when we experience trauma, like we can't provide for our family or we can't, and it impacts our self-worth, we fragment. Okay. And so I do a lot of readings with this Oversoul Codex. And there's a specific card that's not in any tarot deck because it's specific to the Oversoul, right? And sorry, I want to find it so I can show it to y'all. It's my favorite, one of my favorite cards in the deck. Right here. This is the card. This card is the soul fragment. You see that? Every time that you go through a traumatic experience, a piece of you gets left in one of those timelines and it's stuck in that same place where you felt shame, where you felt unworthy. Okay? And so you're moving to different timelines, but that version still exists somewhere in your field because you are multidimensional. Okay, which means you exist across multiple timelines at one time. And so if there's a version of you that is fragmented, that feels alone, that feels shame and unworthy, you can go and retrieve that soul fragment in the now moment. All you do is got to go talk to that version and tell her what she needs to hear. Tell him what he needs to hear. Because again, your mind cannot tell if it happened before, or if it's happening right now. And that's the real work. Your body has always held the keys because your body is the map. Okay? So you can do this with any version of yourself that experienced trauma. You can do this with any emotion that you feel and to see where it came from. You have always been the work and your body already knows. See, the thing about awareness, what happens when we go through trauma is that it freezes in our crystalline nervous system, right? And so when you talk about myofascial release, right? The releasing your jaw, releasing the fascia in your body. The reason why you need to do that is because that's where trauma crystallizes. And what happens when you go through a trauma is your body panics and it freezes. The emotion that's supposed to be moving through you, it freezes it. It's almost like you get cold. It's almost like if you were to start a fire and pour ice or throw ice on it or something, right? It freezes it and then you forget about it, right? Because you're so in your head, now you're not in your body, right? Because you're scared, you know, and you're in fight or flight. So your brain is doing this, your heart is doing this, and it's trying to figure out a way out, right? But if you never go back to it, that energy stays frozen in your body. And it's not until you put awareness on it, because awareness is like a flashlight. It's not until you look at it again and you put awareness on it that it starts to dissolve, that it starts to move again, because presence is like fire in your body. When you put your attention on something, it starts to dissolve whatever is there. Because whatever you have awareness of, you make real again. Okay? And so you can heal yourself by just putting your awareness on your body, laying in the bed every single day and doing a body scan and getting all the starting at the top of your head and making everything relax, and then move your awareness through your body to the tension, go into the tension, because the tension holds the memory. Because what it really is in the water in your body. And it's just your water is dense in that area. It's stagnant. It's freezing. Instead of the water flowing, it's freezing. In that area, it's contracted, right? So I hope that helps. I really hope that helps. You know, did that feel scary for anybody? Did anybody jump into it and jump out of it real quick? Or were you able to sit with the emotion? You're welcome, Sarah. Now see how you move going forward. Yeah, it definitely does help. Good. That's the kind of stuff that I'll be teaching in the Soul School. So if you haven't applied for the Soul School, go to my website, bigtajj.com, and then click underneath the picture where it says Soul School. It's a 10-question intake. But you have to be able to look at yourself again. You have to be able to feel it again. Because what happens when we think with our mind, we think we understand the capacity to which we felt that emotion. But it's not until you get into the feeling that you realize, oh, this was deep. Oh, this was traumatic. Oh, I was traumatized. You know, we think we know, but we don't until we get back into it. Sit with it. That was very helpful. Good. Yeah, I did rush through it. It was scary for a moment. It's okay. The next time, if you go back into that energy, the next time is easier. But it's so many of us who are just, we think our feelings are too much or too intense or too whatever, or we think that they're inconvenient and we won't sit with the uncomfortableness of it. But it's only through you. That's the only way through. They try to sell you this story that spirituality is rainbow butterflies and fucking compromise. They're liars. They're liars. Because you think it's rainbows, butterflies, and compromise, you get into healing and you actually start doing the work. What do most people do? They turn the fuck around. They turn around. They're like, oh, hell no. Well, that's not it. And then they start bypassing, which means that they're intellectually aware of everything. The smartest people you will ever meet. Super hyper aware of how they show up, how everybody else shows up, all of it. But they still haven't felt it. And that's why they're still dealing with depression and sadness. And that's why you can be hyper aware and still not feel safe in your body, because your mind speaks a different language than your body. Your mind is you operating out of the fragmented side of you. And that's why every time you go through a trauma, you jump into your mind because your mind is trying to figure something out, but your mind was never supposed to figure it out. Figuring it out comes from feeling, not from your mind. Your mind is only supposed to help you to organize things so that you can express them. That is it. So it gives you assumption. It operates in assumptions. And so when your mind is not tethered to your heart, your mind is just processing trauma. It's just looping trauma. And you moving based off of what you think, how you think other people are going to act and what you've been through, instead of moving off of trust. Trust is the currency of the universe. If you don't trust, you're not going to be able to magnetize. And if you're not trusting, you are living in fear. Fear of, I don't want to be broke again. Fear of being seen. Fear of putting yourself out there, fear of receiving, because you don't think you can handle it, because you're not very good with money, because money's always running away from you. Fear. And you cannot let fear make your decisions, because fear focuses on what you don't want to experience instead of focusing on what you do want to experience. So when it comes to people putting you in situations you've been in before, you do not know until you ask, because your mind is going to make up a story. It does not mean that that story is true. So you have to ask them. You have to speak up. You got to ask for clarity. Otherwise, you're just assuming that they're the same people that you've met before, and that is extremely unfair. And you're not even giving them trusting them enough to give them an opportunity to do something different, because you already think you know what they're going to do. You're leading through your trauma. And you're never going to get the life that you actually want if you lead in through your trauma. It don't work that way. Sorry. I wish it did, but it don't. So you're going to have to do more stuff like this to get you through that. And that's why I'm creating this soul school, because I want to help us to be able to, one, create an energetic container where people can come in and feel safe and not judged. But two, help us to do it, feel it, to heal it, so that we can start creating the life that we actually want. Because come March, April, we're going to be channeling a lot more energy. And I don't mean that to scare you, because it's not a scary thing. It's actually a really beautiful thing. But I think that if you haven't done the work, or your crystalline DNA, your crystalline nervous system, which they don't really teach us about, if it has all these knots and tangles into it, you're going to feel energetically overwhelmed every time you're channeling energy. You're not going to allow yourself to lift up into that higher vibration, because you're too afraid of what that looks like. And it feels unfamiliar. And if you lead in with your mind, you lead in with your ego, you lead in with your trauma, all of those are the same thing, right? Your inner child, all of those are the same thing. If you lead in with that, it don't care about you being happy. It only cares that you make it to see another day, and that you got the survival mechanisms built up to survive the other thing. So it likes to move in comfortability and predictability, because it already knows what to do. And so if you grew up in chaos, it's going to keep you in chaos, because you have the survival mechanisms built up to survive that. And so the experiences you're having in your environment are so important, because the experiences that you're having are mirroring what frequency you're emanating, right? And so if you keep experiencing people who are abandoning you, it's because you have an expectation that people are going to abandon you. And you're not trusting them not to, right? What happens when you think somebody is going to abandon you? You try to do it before they do it to you because you're trying to protect yourself from that. And so instead of having a conversation with somebody that you claimed is your friend, you just say, yeah, nah, well, I'm just going to pull away for a second. Now they just don't understand me, so I'm going to pull away. You don't even give them an opportunity to show you something different. And then you're wondering why you don't see it in your reality because you're focusing on what you don't want and not what you do want. The universe is always going to grant you abundance based on where your awareness is, where your flashlight is. Your flashlight is, if it's in the protector mode, where you're trying to protect yourself from feeling certain feelings, you're going to have to keep protecting yourself. But if it's in the trust area, where you allow things to be what they are, and that you trust in yourself. So when you trust in yourself, you don't gotta trust in your experience. You don't have to trust in people around you, because you know when it's time for you to leave, you'll leave. When it's time for you to stand up, you'll stand up. When it's time for you to speak up, you'll speak up. When it's time for you to tell people what your needs are, you'll do that. You don't need to trust them. You need to trust you. Right? And when you can trust you, then you don't have to worry about that. You open up multiple different timelines. Now you actually have options. Whereas before, because I'm trying to protect myself from abandonment, you only have one option, which is being alone. Because that's what you're choosing, is to be alone. Because the truth of the matter is that like every single relationship requires confrontation and conflict. And conflict is not a bad thing. It's not always rah, rah, rah. Conflict is telling people what your differences are and telling people what you need. It's tension. That is a natural part of every single relationship. Once you sit down and have the conversation, how many times have you had a conflict with your friend and then y'all have the conversation and now y'all closer? Conflict brings us together. None of us are the same. None of us. And so we're going to have conflict. If people are showing up authentically, conflict is going to happen. Period. If you are a people pleaser, maybe not, because you're just saying yes to everything, but it also makes you feel really lonely and that you everything to everybody and nobody's nothing to you, because you're not giving people a chance to actually see you. You're just being digestible. You're just trying to please other people, which means you're neglecting yourself to do it. Right? But most of us don't know how to deal with conflict. Or we talking to people who don't hold themselves accountable. So me, I got a clear path. If you do something that I don't like, first, me, because I had an anger problem, I would have to take a second. I got to walk away because I got to figure out how I feel about this. You don't ever make a decision when you're in the height of an emotion or the low of an emotion. You don't never make a decision from there. When I mean a low of an emotion, if you're sad about that man, that's not when you send that text message. Okay? You wait until you out of the height or the low of the emotion, and then you'll be thinking clear. But emotion is oceanic energy, which means it moves in waves. You cannot make a decision when the waves are crashing. You cannot. It's like going to the beach. They hold up a red flag when the waves is crashing. But when the water stills again, they hold up a green flag and say it's safe for you to enter. So that means you need to take time and figure out how you truly feel and then move from a place of truth and not from a place of reaction. Right? Yep, I was trying to avoid father wounds at last, ended up with a partner somehow like him. Yes, because you focus on what you don't want. You know? I forgot what I was saying before that. Why I got to the emotions in the crashing. I'm trying to find it. Give me a second. I'm finding it. I'm not finding it though. There's nothing going on up there. Like literally I could throw a stone down the hallway. Nothing is happening up there. Yes, that was why I was getting there. But your honesty though, your truth comes from stillness. You have to sit in stillness. Why? Because stillness is the playground for you to feel. Okay? Your mind moves quick. Right? Your mind moves quick. It moves rushingly because it's really supposed to organize things and bring them into this reality. But your mind moves quick. Your body moves slow, which means you need stillness in order for you to anchor into the feeling And then over time, the feeling reveals to you your truth, whether that's joy, hesitation, or whatever the case may be. You know? But we have to get out of this emotionally fragile energy, because some of us don't want to hear the truth. And some of us would love to, but we're talking to the wrong people. Oh, my clear communication. That's what I was talking about. So when somebody does something that I feel like crosses a line for me, I sit with the feeling and I try to figure out how I feel. Before I go have that conversation, I'm clear about what I'm trying to say. First and foremost, okay? When I approach the situation, I say, this was the scenario. This is how it made me feel. What was your intention? I don't assume that I know what their intention is, because the only truth that I know is how you made me feel. Nobody can ever tell you how they made you feel. How you feel is your soul communicating to you. It's your internal compass trying to tell you what your needs are. So nobody can ever tell you what your internal compass is telling you. You're the only one who's experiencing it. You're the only one who can say what it is. So you need to name it. This is the scenario. This is how it made me feel. What was your intention? You do not know what their intention is. If you think that you know what their intention is, you are living out of your wounds. And not from a place in your mind is making up a story based on assumption. It's not rooted in any truth. So then you ask them, what was your intention? And then I let them tell me what their intention was, so that when I cut you the fuck off, I know I cut you off for a good reason. You was very clear about what it is. I understood fully what you were saying and what it was, because it came from your mouth. Most of the time, if it's somebody who loves you, they're going to hold themselves accountable. It's going to feel like a good conversation. They're going to hear you out. They're going to listen to you. But if it's somebody who doesn't want to hold themselves accountable and somebody who's not willing to change, they're going to try to justify what they did instead of seek to understand what you're saying. They're going to reject you. They're going to make you feel unheard. They're going to make you feel unseen. They're going to say, well, I'm sorry if it made you feel that way. Well, I'm sorry, but those are people I walk away from. Because I want to be in community and I deserve to be in community. It's about self-respect. I want to be in community and I deserve to be in community with people who actually want to hear me. And I deserve to feel supported in the way that I feel. It's not your responsibility to make me feel better, but I think it is your responsibility, if we're in a relationship, to acknowledge how I feel. And so I always tell people, if somebody brings something to me, hold on, friend, it's me and you against the problem. I want to hear what you have to say. I think in the beginning part of me learning to communicate, I had to redirect conversations a lot to let people know, no, I want to hear what you have to say. You ain't got to come at me guns a-blazing. People come at you guns a-blazing because they moving based off of what they think is about to happen, not the truth. And so you might need to redirect a little bit in the beginning. I want to hear what you got to say. Then open up the floor and listen. Don't invalidate how they feel, because you can't tell them how they felt. Don't try to justify your actions either, because that is not what it's not. Intent and impact are two different things. Intent and impact are two different things. What you want to do in that scenario is clear up your intent, but you cannot tell them what your impact was, because only they know what your impact was. But you can clear up anything they're misunderstanding about that. So you can say, you know what, friend, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to make you feel that way. What I was actually saying in that situation was this, but I could see how you took it that way. And I'm really sorry that I made you feel that way. I never want to do anything that causes you harm. I'm never intentionally being malicious, but I appreciate you for even opening up the space and having courage to tell me. Now I know what to look out for. That's it. It's as simple as that. We make it difficult because we assume we know who this person is. And then how many times have you assumed that you know who this person is, and then your friend is upset because they feel really misunderstood by you? Because I thought you knew that I wouldn't even come at you like this. But you don't if you're operating from a hurt place. You know what I'm saying? Ooh. So we got to learn how to communicate. We got to learn how to feel our feelings and get clear about how we feel so we can learn how to communicate. Because you're not going to be a good communicator if you cannot identify what you are feeling. You cannot identify what it is telling you. And you cannot identify whether it's your responsibility or not. Because a lot of times we think our friends are supposed to help us to emotionally regulate. They're not. It's not their job. It's your job to emotionally regulate. And so we go to them and we say, well, I feel like, why didn't you invite me to this party? Like, I felt really alone. I felt X, Y, and Z because you didn't invite me to this party and da da da. So next time you need to invite me, and we try to force them to do it our way. But if they ain't want you there, they ain't want you there. Why do you need to force somebody into thinking about you or considering you? You're not going to have to force somebody who's actually for you. So why don't you just go where you received? Instead of trying to get this specific person to meet your needs. You're responsible for meeting your needs. And so if that makes you feel some type of way, go have a conversation with them and ask them what was up. Either they're going to make you feel good or they're going to make you feel bad. If they make you feel bad, you need to go in a different direction. Well, I actually want friends around me who actually consider me. You know, I felt I felt left out and I felt abandoned by you because of that. Well, I don't know what to tell you because I didn't even think about it. And Well, I want friends who consider me. You know, I don't got to be invited to everything, but that seemed like it was your birthday. Seemed like it was an important thing that you would want somebody who you consider a friend there. Well, you just being sensitive. Okay, cool. No problem. Well, I don't want to be in community with people who make me feel like my emotions are too much. Go in a different direction. You want to find people who naturally do what it is that you like, because relationships are about alignment. Too many times we're afraid of being alone and we get somebody who's just good enough and we think we can mold them and shape them. It ain't your job to fix that and heal them. It's not your job. That's how you start leaking energy. That's how you take on the karmic imprints of other people. And now you're dealing with a burden that was theirs to their lineages thing to deal with because you're trying to fix, save, and heal them. Now you done absorb that shit when you could have just went on about your motherfucking business. Save yourself 4 years of emotional abuse or emotional unavailability. So that's what I mean by saying it's your job to meet your needs. If they are not meeting your needs, don't try to force them to meet your needs. Go where your needs are being met. Do you know what I'm saying? Go where your needs are being met. Because you deserve to have people around you who naturally possess the characteristics that you like. Otherwise, you're constantly going to have to be in this place of trying to get them to consider you. You're constantly going to have to be in this place of trying to get it, and you're doing it through force. And that, again, is you operating out of your mind and out of the masculine side of things. You just think you need to do more. You need to give more. To a person who ain't giving you shit back, why do you think giving them more of what they already don't appreciate is going to get you to the mark? It's because society told you it was. And so you got to know your worth, and you got to have self-respect, and you got to walk away when it's time to walk away. And you got to choose you always. And it's never selfish for you to prioritize what you need first over other people, because life is ultimately about self. The only reason why they tell you that that's selfish is because they benefit from your lack of boundaries. They benefit from it. And so, of course, I'm going to tell you that's selfish so that you can always be considering me and I can continue not considering you. I can stay comfortable not considering you because you don't give a fuck if I consider you or not, because you don't even know your worth. But I know mine's, right? It's a loop. So you got to be in the energy always of the witness and not the fixer, because the fixer is hurt. The fixer is trying to protect other people from feeling what they had to feel when they was a kid. I don't want people to feel abandoned, so I'm always show up for them, even though they don't ever show up for me. Right? We're trying to protect other people from feeling what we felt. So if you're trying to fix, save, or heal, you are wounded. Because it's not your job. They're responsible for their own work. If you constantly find yourself repeating yourself to your friends and getting upset when they don't take your advice, you're trying to do their work for them. That is not your job to do their work for them. Of course, you're frustrated because you're leaking energy. You're trying to take on your burdens. You neglecting your burdens to try to take over somebody else's. You know, oftentimes we think because something worked for us that it's the right way. And then we try to project that onto other people. And when they don't listen, we get upset. We get mad. We can say, I'm fucking tired of you not listening to me. Then why the fuck you keep coming over here and da da da? Whoa, slow down, 10 speed. I don't have to take your advice. This is my life. You got to understand, people are the expert on their life. You are the expert on your life. It's like y'all having two blank canvases and you looking over there saying you need a little yellow over here. You don't even know what the fuck they painting. How do you know? You don't know what their experiences are. You don't know what they've been through. You don't even know what they're here to learn. So maybe this for them, being in this situation is what breaks them open, and you trying to save them from it? You're causing harm. You're causing harm and you don't even know you causing harm. And so it's arrogant for us to think that we know what's best for other people. Unconditional love is allowing people to make the choices that are best suited for them without your interruption. Understanding we're on this journey together, but we got different missions. And if I try to save you from this mission, it's going to keep coming back until you decide to make different choices, until you can see it. Because if you can save people if you want to, but you're going to have to keep saving them. And then eventually they're the anchor that's holding you down. Now you're drowning with them. Because you used all your energy and expensed all your energy and you ain't getting shit back because you ain't even giving it to yourself. I hate that for you. I hate that for us. I hated that for me. And I don't say that as judgment. We are afraid of the truth. That's the truth. It's not your job to do the work for other people. They don't have to listen to you. Go to people who naturally value what you have to say and want to hear your wisdom, because it doesn't mean that your perspective isn't important. But we spend so much time talking to the wrong people that we start to think something is wrong with us. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, thinking you're going to get a different result. It's beating a dead horse. Once the horse is dead, it don't matter how many times you hit that horse. It can't feel it. It can't feel it. So stop beating that horse. Move somewhere else. Move into the witness, because the witness is somebody who, before they even open their mouth, are you venting or do you want my opinion? If somebody is just venting, you're just giving them compassion. Compassion don't mean you got to do anything. Compassion means opening up space to help so that they can navigate whatever or process whatever it is that they're going through. And you sitting right there like, I'm so sorry, friend. Here's some napkins. Here's some water. Rub on the back. You listen. Because somebody who's venting doesn't want to change. It don't matter what you say. They don't want to change. They just need to offload it. Right? They're trying to experience emotional alchemy. And so they need a safe space to express. Okay, fine. Be that safe space. But if they want your opinion, good. Step into the shoes of the witness, not the fixer. Okay? You're not fixing the problem for them. You're not fixing the problem for them. Okay? When it comes to venting, you're not trying to help them transcend it. You're not trying to fix it. But also when it comes to giving your opinion, you're not trying to help them transcend it. You're not trying to help them fix it. Okay? You give them your opinion because the only thing that you offer people in this reality is truth. The truth shall set you free. Yes, the only thing you offer them is truth. Once you give your opinion, you need to witness how they respond. Either they're going to make you feel good. They're going to be asking questions. They're going to be curious. That's the person who values your opinion. That's a safe place for you to express. That's the person who probably is going to do the work. But if you get defensiveness, they're rejecting you. They're making every excuse underneath the book, or this is the 30th time that you done said this same fucking thing. That is not a person who wants to change. My YouTube is Big Taj, Bigtajj. That's not a person that wants to change. Get off the hamster wheel with them. And so you need to realize, oh, this isn't a person who's willing to change. Put my lippy in a zippy. Don't take it personal. Move in a different direction. What I say is, friend, well, it sounds like you got it. No problem. And I don't say nothing else. I move in a different direction, because anything that I say after that, I'm going to be trying to convince you, prove it to you, saying it in a different way because I think you misunderstanding me. No. Somebody like that is going to be determined to misunderstand you, because the consequence of them accepting what you have to say is that they got to do something different. And most people are not going to do something different because it feels scary. If you've ever been on a healing journey, you know how fucking scary that shit is. So don't judge them for it. Don't judge them for it. Change is hard. That shit fucking hurts. That shit fucking hurts. Put your lippy in a zippy. Move in a different direction. If they come back to you with the same situation, let them know, hey, look, friend, I already gave you the advice. My advice hasn't changed. Now you got to change. That's it. I don't say not another motherfucking peep about it. Because last time I tried to say a peep, you getting mad at me, baby. I'm not, we ain't doing that over here. It was yours to deal with anyways. You you mad at me because you wanted my help? That's crazy. I don't got time for that. But they're not rejecting you. And I think that's the problem, is that we take so much shit personal in this reality. They're not rejecting you, they're rejecting change. You're the one who's delivering the change. Your perspective is causing transformation. They don't want to be transformed. It's as simple as that. That's how you stay in alignment. You know? Hey, Natalie, where you been, boo? I literally thought about you the other day. I was about to reach out to you. Check your post and see if you were still breathing, girl. I ain't heard from you in a minute. I miss you, girl. Yep, that was me with my sister. I have to put it in a zippy. Yeah. You gotta put the lippy in a zippy. You know? It's not your job to fix them. It's not your job to save them. And if you think it is, you're constantly going to be leaking energy. You're constantly going to be in a loop with them, repeating yourself, then you're going to get frustrated, angry, bitter, whichever one, disappointed. But what you don't realize is that's you projecting your reality onto them and trying to force them into change. And you want them to move at your pace and not their own. You want them to trust your intuition, but not their own. Yeah, I'm gonna hit you up, boo. I love you back. But you want them to trust your intuition and not their own. What kind of shit is that? When we look at it, what kind of shit is that? That is not helpful. But we've not been taught anything else. And so we need the people who understand it, who understand energy. We need them to step forward and help. Because this is how you help. Because it all starts from the inside. When they said the revolution would not be televised, they were saying everything starts in the mind, which is inside of you. So that means that if you never bring it outside, nobody knows about it. It will not be televised. You cannot see it. So if we want to see change in our environment, which is the outcome of something, we have to first change the inside, because the inside is what changes the experiences. Because every single one of us, our brain is perceiving reality differently. It's creating a different reality. We don't even realize we could be standing next to each other and seeing everything completely different. Right? Sorry, this is my jam that's on. So you have to start from the inside, because what your experiences are doing are showing you where you're moving, because your consciousness moving as energy, because energy is what brings things into form. It's the vehicle for consciousness. You are the consciousness that's moving the energy. You're not this body. You're not your thoughts. You're not your emotions. You're not your actions. You're not none of that. You are the consciousness and the pure intelligence behind it, moving it in this reality. You're a frequency tuner. Everything you come into contact with is a frequency that you are either giving permission to in your reality or you're rejecting. And so what I started doing is I started taking people labels away. This ain't my mama. This is the energy of ... This is the spirit of ... This ain't my brother. This is the spirit of ... And I know when them spirits come out, I'm like, this is he in that energy where he don't want to, he don't care about the truth. He only care about being right. I ain't fighting with that. This is a losing battle. Why would I leak my energy trying to prove something to you? I'll let you have it. I don't need you to understand me. I don't need you to believe in my truth. I think multiple things can exist at once. I think multiple truths can exist at once. And what we don't realize is we all at different levels of consciousness. So we're not in the same place, even though it looks like we're in the same place. I'm standing on top of the refrigerator. You in the basement. And so you as the witness need to be aware of that. And you need to understand that if you engage, you're giving permission to that in your reality. Until you say no, it's going to keep showing up. So look at them patterns. Whoever said that thing about the Saturn return, look at your patterns. What keeps showing up in your reality? And understand it's not that other person and it's not the universe. You are sending out a frequency that has that expectation. How do you fix it from the inside? If it's abandonment, you learn how to trust. If it's feeling unseen, you go where you received. If you're having trouble speaking up and you're choosing silence, you learn how to speak up. Because you cannot fix anything by blaming other people or blaming the universe, because you can't do nothing about neither one of those things. But we get stuck there, right? And so we keep trying to change the people instead of changing ourselves. Because again, we operated from that wounded place. Well, I don't want them to think that I'm abandoning them. You realigning with yourself is not you trying to hurt somebody or abandoning someone. If they think it is, y'all are in two different places. You in the wrong room. Those are people who benefit from your lack of boundaries. Get around people who don't. Okay, relationships are about alignment. Who are you when I don't need nothing from you and you don't need nothing from me? Do I actually enjoy your company? Do I actually want to be around you? Do I actually feel like I'm heard, I'm seen, I'm supported? Without me needing anything, do I fucking like you? Right? Because we keep taking on projects. Most of us who have been through trauma, we choose people who need love, not people who have the capacity to receive love. Right? And then we think that we're going to be the one to show them what love is, right? Because we got a savior complex, because that's the white man's game. Please understand that's the white man's game. They have been able to bypass their guilt because they think that they're trying to save us, right? They think they're trying to save us. And so if I am trying to do what's best for everybody and there's casualties, I'm trying to save you. I'm trying to help you. If you learned anything from that Diddy documentary, he bypasses his guilt because he thinks that he's saving hip hop, right? And he's good at what he does. And so he just thinks he needs to keep doing these things because he's the person who has to save them, right? But he also grew up in private school, which means that he don't look through the black lens. He looked through the white lens because he's only ever been around white kids, right? And then also, white men have created this environment where they justify their heinous fucking behavior because they think they're trying to save somebody. And so there's so many of us who don't realize that we operate from that same place, because that is what society is trying to teach us. The women have to give more. The women have to save, which means they have to sacrifice themselves to do it. Whereas they're not sacrificing themselves to do it. But women have to sacrifice themselves. Then men are never required to do any type of work. And so men, it's a lonely male epidemic right now. And they think that women are rejecting them. Women are not rejecting you. They're rejecting emotional unavailability. They're rejecting abuse, right? Because you've been able to not be held accountable in this reality. You're not required to change. But we are oppressed by you not being required to change. And so we change. And now you think, oh, we're the problem again because we won't allow you to stay comfortable in your mediocrity and your bullshit. Right? I'm just saying. I hate to have to be the one, but I'm just saying. You know, so many of us have a savior complex and we think it has to be us that saves them. And so we try to convince them that we lovable by showing them what love is, and we pouring into them, and we think because we pouring into them, right? And we putting all this effort in that's eventually going to repay us. Because don't they teach us that in society? You're supposed to work your way up. If you could just work your way up, eventually you get the prize and you get the award. Yeah, we're doing that in relationships. We're doing that in our career. We're doing that in every area of our life. You're not going to be able to convince somebody who does not see your value to see your value. You're just not. And so you need to be love and stop trying to perform love, because we live in a society that is performing. It's not your job to entertain them. It's not your job to please them. It's not your job to look pretty for them. It's not your job to be on a fucking stage. You know? Yeah, that's me needing to save someone. Oh, I've been there too. I'm not speaking from a place of judgment. I'm speaking from a place of I've been there, done that, and am wiser for it. I'm wiser for it. And I'm wiser because I decided to feel it, because I wanted to do something different. My depth comes from my capacity to meet myself. And then my value comes from my capacity to allow myself to be witnessed in that emotionally vulnerable state in a society that says that my emotions are too much. Jokes on them. They don't want you to feel, because if you feel, then you start disrupting. They don't get to stay comfortable if you feel. If you decide to do something, they don't get to stay comfortable. You know? And that's one thing I like about Gen Z, is that Gen Z don't tolerate shit. And we too busy saying, well, y'all too sensitive. Back in our day, we had to do it like this. That's like coming to a job and working say you working in technology and you decide to switch jobs, and you go to the job and you like, well, they ain't do this at my old job. Don't nobody give a fuck what they did at your old job. No, we do it like this over here now. Right? So we too busy judging them because they don't want to comply with a system that was never built for us. But that's what they here to teach us, though. We also don't value children, because children are the future. Children come in with wisdom, and children come in already connected to spirit and witnessing what is happening. And so nobody's more equipped to tell us what the problems are than children, because they're in that stage where they're still questioning things, where they're still saying, this don't sound right. Hold on, wait, why are we doing it this way? They feel the pressure of what's to come for them. So Gen Z, they don't fuck around. They don't give a fuck, damn, or shit. And I love that about them. They'll burn all this shit down before they comply with the bullshit. You know, just miss my house, baby. You know, put up a little lamp in my window. You know, I'm safe over here. But that's real shit, though. You know, that's real shit. So we got to start doing something different, you know? And so that's why I started this soul school. Akara is an eternal memory vessel. Just the energy of you saying Akara helps to reconnect you to your original blueprint before fragmentation. And in the soul school, we're going to look at energy. I'm going to tell you how to alchemize energy, how to move energy, how to transform energy. Thank you. Thanks, Ty. Because I feel like we are so disconnected from ourselves. We have to get reconnected. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to change any of this shit. Once you can realize that you magnetize and that you don't have to put forth effort to get what you want in this reality, baby, it changes everything. It changes everything. You know? And so we are better off together as well, because we came here to help each other grow and evolve. You see my blind spots, I see yours. Enrollment, open enrollment starts December 15th, but I'm going to be enrolling people until about like March. So you can go on my website right now, bigtajj.com. So Big Taj with 2J's.com. Underneath my photo, it says Soul School, and there's an intake form. Fill out the intake form. But this is a 9-month cycle. You'll do 3 weeks on, 1 week off every single month. It's 2 sessions a week. Every single week you'll do a teaching session, and then the second class of the week is either going to be energy work or it's going to be a healing circle, kind of what we did earlier in this live, where I had y'all body scan and figure out, you know, what energy was laying where. And so that's going to go for 9 months. The first 3 months is going to be about energy. The second 3 months is going to be about consciousness. The third 3 months is going to be about awareness. And then there's 3 spirals with that. What that means is everybody has to start at beginners, just because a lot of us think that we're not spiritually bypassing, and we are. And so I would rather set you up so that you don't jump into a spiral intermediate or advanced because you think you intermediate or advanced, and then I have to reteach you stuff because you don't understand, you know. And so you go through beginners. It's a 9-month. It's going to go from April into December. and then you get January, February, March off. And then if you're in the beginner spiral, you now move to intermediate, and then I'll be taking another beginner spiral there. And then it 9 months on, 3 months off, and then advanced, intermediate, beginners. Um, and it's going to be done through this app because I want it to be accessible on your phone. So I created an app called the Flame Spiral, and it has a section where you can read the astrology of the week, so you can start learning what energy is affecting you. There's a section where we go live, and there's different classrooms, and I also have 3 priestesses that'll be doing readings each week on there. So if you need a reading, they're doing pretty inexpensive readings for you guys to get that directly through the app. There's a marketplace as well, where if you want to buy services, you can do that at a discounted rate. There is a community chat section, and we kind of like have groups too. So if you have a beginner's chat, but you have a community chat, a beginner's chat, intermediate, advanced, so that you can stay connected to your community and the people who are in your class. That's also where the homework will be uploaded and stuff. There's a library called the Sarai Library, and I'm uploading books, movies. Well, I'm trying to upload movies. So books, movies, and the previous classes as well. Because we'll be eventually looking into songs and music and colors to try to understand tone and sensations and textures. We'll also be looking at interviews and stuff like that in class, because I can put up like a screen behind me to show y'all pictures and videos, so that we can learn to read other people's body language, other people's energy, feel when somebody's energy contracts and when it expands, you know? And so it's just about increased awareness, you know, and then eventually within there, I have other people who will be offering classes, which will be like astrocartography or herbology or womb healing or sound healing or whatever, you know. So I'm really trying to create like this thing that is eventually going to be a place where you can come watch spiritual movies and then give you a review on those movies and just kind of interact with the community and just have a community of people who are interested in the same things as you. Where you could also get access to books that you might not have access to, because I don't know what the fuck they're doing with the books, but all the books that I feel like we need or that's hidden, I've been downloading them, and I'm eventually going to upload those motherfuckers, because bitch, you ain't stopping shit. And if it's my app, you can't kick me off my own shit. You know, that's the gag. So I'm in the process of getting all that shit together. So if you haven't looked at the intake, you should. I also changed some services on my website too, y'all. I dropped the oversoul readings. I dropped those from 88 to 44 just because I think I love doing those readings, and I feel like it's more beneficial to get more people to be able to get those readings, which is done with my oversoul codex. This is it looks like tarot, but it's not fucking tarot. But it's a deck that I created or whatever. And so I'll look at where you are right now and what you need to do to kind of move forward. It's very soul encoded. And then I also, I kind of just changed some shit around. So I have flame lineage readings on there. Ooh, that's not what I was looking for. Hold on. So I have flame lineage readings on there, flame reflective readings, which are the tarot deck, oversoul design readings, which are, you know, looking at your energy, how to get yourself in alignment. It looks at your oversoul mission, the character you came here to play, how to keep yourself in alignment, the environment you need to be in, your strongest sense, all of that shit. And then it goes, if you do tier 2, it goes into your specific energy. So what you came here to contribute, what energy helps to support you in that, what you need to master, what you need to move away from, what drives you but causes emotional instability. And it goes all the way down to what you're going to struggle with the most in your life but causes the most transformation. So it's very, very detailed reading. The last one that I did was about 3 hours. So it's a lot of fucking information because, again, like I said, I just be trying to help. Within those oversoul design readings, the readings that I was given for Black Friday, the oversoul mission reading. So if you just want your oversoul mission, it's only $66. I actually really enjoyed doing those readings. I've been doing like 2 a day for like the last 3 days. And I really enjoy them. So I'm actually going to keep those because I think maybe you don't want the full reading, but maybe you just want to know what you're here to do and what your purpose is. And you want to understand what those 4 frequencies that are going to help you get there is. In that reading, I talk about the environments you need to be in and also what you need to master, what you need to move away from. Because I think those things are the most important when it comes to embodying your oversoul. And so that reading is only like 30, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, but so much information. The mirror flame readings are there, which is just like a general life reading. I'm tapping in with your ancestors or your spirit guides to tell you what the message that they've been trying to give to your ass, but you ain't been listening. And then sacred parent codes, which is the same thing, oversoul design, but for your kids. And so I look at your energy, and it don't matter how many kids you got. I've done up to 5 kids before. I look at mom and dad if you have both mom and dad, and I tell y'all how your energy interacts and how you need to energetically parent your kids. And then I also offer tier 2, which that reading is closer to like 3.5 hours. But that is after I tell y'all how your energy is interacting. I go into your kid. So if you have multiple kids, though, you have to purchase multiple tier 2s just because that's way more fucking detailed. But you can get all of your kids and just like a mini reading for all of y'all through tier 1. Um, but I just did a tier 2, which was like 3.5, almost 4 hours. I sent her like 3 videos. But it was like her husband, and her kid. And so I spent some time talking about her husband, and her kid. And then I went on to her kid, what they came here to contribute, what they came to Matt, like all of that. And I went through all of that. It was a really great reading. She was on a cruise, and I think she came back and she looked at part of the reading and had already sent me like a partial review. Um, so I've literally just been trying to realign with myself and what I actually want to do and what I'm passionate about. So the flame reflective readings, I just think, that's like a quick little tarot. And y'all can even tell me, because I put 44 just because I do like a 15 card pool, and this reading usually is about 45 minutes to an hour. Um, but I have that, the oversoul design, the mirror flame, and the flame lineage, and I just leave it at that because I don't want to oversaturate it. Like I don't do the energetic design like profiles anymore because those take like 6 hours, and I was it's just a fucking lot. It just was a lot, and it was just taking up a lot of time. And I was like, no, because then I got to go through your astrology, I got to go through your human design, and then I got to come up with a strategy for how you get in. It was just too much. And so I consolidated my service too. And a lot of people have recently been buying meet and greets. And so people have just been buying meet and greets to come in and just talk about where they are right now or just get advice, which I really have been enjoying those sessions because I really just like meeting y'all, to be honest. And that's why I come on live every week and talk to y'all, because I didn't used to be a person who went live. I've only been going live in probably like this last year and a half. And I love going live because I feel like a part of a community, and I really enjoy coming on here. Hey, we love good eats. Um, I really enjoyed coming on here and connecting with y'all. And I think sometimes we just need to hear things multiple times, or we just need to hear a different perspective. And so I really love like being able to give that perspective. And that's why I always post everything to my YouTube, so you don't have to remember anything, and you can always go there and, check things out if you want to. But yeah, I just like talking to y'all. Like I like being able to help, because I remember when I was going through my spiritual journey, I didn't have anybody. I didn't have no elders. I didn't have nobody that I could call. And quite frankly, me talking about my emotions was an inconvenience to a lot of people. And so it was just like I had to kind of go through this alone. And I hated that. I hated it so much because it's like, damn, like I didn't get here alone, bitch. Like, what's the problem with me talking to you about what the fuck you did to me? Like, but I was still in that blaming energy too, so I don't know. I just want people to feel safe. And those of us who choose this path oftentimes are kind of exiled from the family, or like misunderstood or unseen or unheard. And we think we got to be silent. And that's the opposite of what we're supposed to be doing, And so I just come on here just to be an example for either our kids or other people or whatever. Like, I think we think that healing means we got to become a different person, because so many of us are trying to perform that shit. You do not have to become a different person. I still cuss. I still talk how I talk. I still whatever. Like I am me. It's just that I understand life better. That's it. I think people get into the love and light and grand rising, and they feel like they got to start looking boho. And it's like, no, you don't have to do that. You literally could be the same baddie that you was before this shit. You just need to be you, instead of the version of you keep putting out that's not fully you. You need emotional vulnerability. You don't have to speak a whole nother language. You need to understand that the intention behind your words are important. So if you're just saying stuff unconsciously, you are casting a spell. And so if you change it in your head, or you speak it into your water, and you change the intention when you drink your water, water is intelligent. It's going to go into your body and tell the other water in your body what is the expectation now. And so I can say fuck, damn, shit, bitch, hoe, pussy, nigga. I can say all of that because I've changed the intention of the word. You know, you don't have to become something because you're not performing anything, but we've only ever been taught to perform. You know, it's about authenticity and refinement. It's not about performance and perfection because performance teaches perfection. You're never going to be perfect. You didn't come here to be perfect. If you're trying to be perfect, you can't be authentic because if you're trying to be perfect, you're trying to appease other people, right? You have to continuously shapeshift and mold yourself into whatever other people need in that moment if you're going to be perfect. No, you came here to be authentic, which means you need refinement. Refinement is looking back at your experiences, looking back at your previous day. What did I like about it? Keeping that shit. What didn't I like? Change it. Choose another option. And it is as simple as that. When you have experiences, did I like it or did I not like it? If you liked it, do more of it. That's getting you closer to alignment. But if you didn't, do less of it. That's it. If you get around people and they make you feel good, yes, stay around them. But if every time you over there, they're making you feel bad, those are not your fucking people. Simple. It could be simple if we just looked at it the way that we looked at it. But because our mind, we living in our mind and our mind is constantly telling us a story about it, we think we need to do more. We think we need to give more because society has trained us to perform and to move towards perfection. We think we just need to shift into something else. Next time we're just going to show up different. Next time we're just going to say it a different way. No, get around people who don't feel offended by you just existing. Because what that subconsciously tells you every time that you shapeshift is that you're not enough as you are and you was always enough. It's about you reaching your original frequency because when you in your tone and I'm in my tone, we affect 17,000 people a piece. 17,000 people a piece. Right? Sorry, this is my jam. Oh! Sorry. Sometimes I have to catch a vibe. 7:17, my granny on the clock. Thank you, Granny. I love you, Granny. I miss you, Granny. You know what I'm saying, though? You know, so I love coming on here because I hate to sound like a preacher. No, I don't. I like sounding like a preacher. I hate to sound like a preacher, but at the same time, like I just be feeling like I get, ooh, is that me moving from a wounded place? Me not wanting y'all to experience what I experienced. I might need to look at that. But either way, you know, I love my people. And I think that we can be okay if we had leaders and people willing to step up and show us from a lens. Because I ain't gonna say the right way, because I think there's multiple right ways, right? It's not just one right way, but that's what we're being taught, right? But just show us another way that we can do things and reach that same place of peace. Because peace is not contingent upon everything going right. And you know, as I was reading the intakes, like somebody's response, I asked them like, what is healing? And it was like having less bad days, you know, and I'm like, well, yes, in a way, they're not bad days because you're handling things different. You know, it's not as simple as you think healing is going to wipe away all the bad in your reality. It doesn't work that way. It's just that you acknowledge it for what it is. You allow yourself to feel what you need to feel, but then you nurture yourself through it and you anchor into trust. You know, it's switching from fear to trust. You know, it's witnessing yourself and allowing yourself to be witnessed. You know, it's growing, it's evolution, it's evolving. It's in the way that you show up. You know, and I also asked the question on the intake, what is your medicine to other people? And I got so many people who put NA, like it's not applicable to them. You always have medicine. That fucked me up in my head. I'm not gonna lie. It was some people I couldn't get past that. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know what you don't have a medicine that you give people? Your medicine is in your presence. It's in your depth. It's in your vulnerability. So that means that what, you disconnected from yourself? You don't even know who you are. You don't have awareness of who you are. That's scary to me. You know? And so, you know, another thing that was happening on the intakes as well is what else was happening that I was just like, huh? Oh, I asked the question like, let me tell you the question. I'm not giving y'all the answers though. But that's not punishment. I just need to see where you actually are, like not me, not where I am, where you are. Um and this intake isn't about worthiness, it's about your capacity to witness yourself. So one of the questions is, what do you imagine healing looks like, and what are you beginning to believe instead? And so most people didn't answer that, what they thought healing was, and then what is it to you now. Most people were answering that in a strange way, like they would say what they think healing is, but it was never like, I think I only got two people who answered that question fully. And another question, or what are you afraid will happen if you fully seen? And I would get people who would tell me in the intake that they're in isolation, but then I'd be like, what are you afraid of? I'm not afraid of anything. But you're not allowing yourself to be seen either. So what do you mean by that? Because we don't realize that our fear of visibility causes us to go into isolation, because at some point of time we decided that our truth wasn't enough, or people didn't respond well to us, or we were being rejected or misunderstood. So we just decided to be by ourselves. We were tired of being disappointed. So we just decided to be by ourselves. You know, I asked, how do you show up in uncomfortable spaces? And some people were just like, I don't. I was just like, okay, yes, but life is not perfect. Peace is not contingent upon everything going right. And so you're going to have to be in uncomfortable spaces. And your life peace is contingent upon your integrity. Are you able to speak up for yourself? Are you able to tell people what your boundaries are? Are you able to say no? Are you able to tell people what you need? That's where true safety comes from. It does not come from hiding away. So yeah. Anywho, if you haven't signed up for the Soul School, or haven't done the intake, go to my website, bigtajj.com, click on Soul School, fill out the intake. It tells you a little bit about the school and the energy of the school, what I'm trying to do, which is teach you sovereignty through remembrance, remembering yourself. You don't have to become anything. You have to remember who you already are and be comfortable being seen as that without needing proof or validation from anybody, right? It's also temple guardianship, and you are the temple that you are guarding. You're the temple that you are guarding, right? As a spiritual self-leadership, you are leading yourself. You're the one making the decisions, and the decisions determine what you give access to in your reality, and every choice is opening up new timelines. And so you're guarding the temple as spiritual self-leadership. You're leading yourself, right? Multidimensional curriculum encoded in flame spirals. Mentorship dissolved into embodiment. So this is like this is how I give people access to me as a mentor without making you do the one-on-one personal mentorship, right? Because I think we need to allow ourselves to be witnessed, because it helps with the visibility, So I think we need to be in shared spaces, and we need to create shared spaces for each other. And I think that in the beginning, we'll need like kind of mediators in that space, because I think sometimes we're just misunderstanding each other because we don't know how to communicate. We don't know how to say how we feel or identify how we feel. And so we're emotionally reactive. And so creating a space where we can talk about that, and you have somebody who has done the work, who can, show witness you without judging you and giving you space to express how you feel, like it teaches you how to do that without teaching you how to do that. You need the presence of that, and then service that's reborn as essence transmission, because again, you don't serve people by trying to serve people. You serve people by how you show up. It's in those moments where somebody comes to you and says, Taja, you hurt me, and you holding yourself accountable. That's an essence transmission. It's in the essence of who I am. Somebody comes to me and they're hurt, and I give them compassion. I don't invalidate them or try to justify anything. I show them compassion. In those moments where people are using truth as the weapon, and I tell them how I feel, right? Because then I show other people what's possible when you learn how to communicate, And so open enrollment is until December 15th. Open enrollment starts December 15th and will probably go until March. And so what I'm doing at the beginning part of the thing is From January to March, we are just going to be sitting in presence together and just kind of having conversations like this, getting to know each other, sharing stories, like things like that, just so that we can know each other as teammates, right? Or as people who are kind of going through this experience together. Because I don't know, I just think about the time where I went to college early and I like did these programs and I had these people who only they understood the experience, and so I want us to have real community. So from January to March, we're just kind of sitting in presence together and just getting to know each other. It's not mandatory, but I would love for people to show up. It's only going to be once a week. And it follows the same schedule, 3 weeks on, 1 week off, just because I want us to get used to just being around each other. What does our relationship look like when I'm not offering you anything and you not offering me anything? Because the only thing that you paying December 15th on, if you get into the soul school, the initiation fee is 111, and then you have 3 months where you're just showing up and we sitting in presence. What does our relationship look like when I'm not offering you nothing and you not offering me nothing? I'm trying to teach you presence through experience, and then we'll start the school come April. Okay. um but yeah, that's it. I think we can do this together. It's just gonna look different than anything we've ever experienced, and we gotta create space for it to look that way. Otherwise, or be willing to even just show up in that space and allow ourselves to be witnessed and seen when we not tap dancing or people pleasing, or you know. So it's gonna be amazing. I'm thank you. Yes, this is gonna be amazing. Okay, I caught that, and I don't know if I read that or if it just came at the same time, but yeah, it's a space for us, and it's an encoded gateway into remembering who you are. And I think having somebody who is gifted, somebody who can feel into energy, somebody who can read people very well. I think sometimes I have a access to the back end. And so like today I was working with one of my clients and she only seen the piece of something. She just start beating herself up. And I'm like, I don't need you to see the whole thing. I just need you to tap into the memory, because then I can tap into your memory field, And so I just need you to feel it for a second so I can tell you what you're feeling, And so I think having that is also just an extra benefit. Hey, Mrs. Jones. It's just an extra benefit, and like I think I don't know. I think me and all the priestesses, because there'll be three priestesses that'll be helping. There's two girls and a boy. And they're people who I've worked with closely, people that I trust. I think we all have different perspectives and ways of handling life just in general. And I don't know, like I just think that we all have different things that really that we bring to this, to create the oversoul architecture, to be able to create an environment where you can actually start to anchor in and remember your oversoul in that space, because we hold these different components. I'm earth and water, and then I have somebody who is earth and fire, or earth and air. She earth and air, or earth and fire. I have somebody else who is air and fire, and I have another person who is air and water. So it's like we all have different, and we have the different elements in different places, and so we're good at different things. And I don't know, I just can't wait to share it with y'all. I'm telling y'all, like, it's gonna be great. Me and the priestesses have been meeting every week, and I'll be reaching out, they'll be reaching out, and we'll be holding some consultations. Those will be group consultations, just because it's going to be easier for us to do that. But I want y'all to understand, there is nobody above you in this space. I am your peer. That's it. My word is not law. Their word is not law. We are a team working towards the same goal. That's it. I just have priestesses because I feel like you need people that you can go to. And I feel like sometimes people put me on a pedestal, and I hate that y'all do that, but sometimes y'all do. And so I think I need other people that y'all can go to. And I think that there's certain of us who have different skills, and eventually the priestesses will be taking on like they'll be mentoring. And so you might be assigned to a priestess, and that you go directly to that priestess as we get in the spiral. And I say, you know what, I think you'll probably work better with this person, or you'll work better, so that if you having one of those moments in the middle of the night and you need somebody, you can just reach out. You can put it in the chat, or you can reach out privately to one of the priestesses and they can help you, or I can help you, or whatever the case may be. But this space is supposed to be about us. It's it's about us, and just allowing ourselves to try to do it a different way and see if this way works, because this might not be the path for everybody, and that's okay. I think it's an amazing path as somebody who is taking it myself, but I'm a little biased. I'm a little biased, but I think that I've been through a lot of the deeper shadow, darker sides of our psyche, and the spiritual attacks, and the all of that. Spirit beat my ass for about 2 years. I told y'all somebody did black magic. I done been through some shit. Okay. And through me trying to help a friend, I done absorbed the sex thing. I done listen. I done been through some shit. So it's like some shit to me is just light work. Light work. But then I have other people who have different experiences. I think that I'm not an avoidant type, meaning like I am more of a soak in the feeling of it and just stay there forever and get stuck in the process and just feel everything and just in pain and hurting, whereas some people just avoid altogether and they dissociate. And so some of my priestess, actually I think all of them, they tend to move towards avoidance, because there's a lot more people who will avoid than to sulk the way that I did. And so we all have different things to offer, and I'm just excited. Like, I cannot wait to do this. Like, this is what I've always wanted to do, or I've known that I wanted to do this for at least 3 years. It's just I was struggling with my own imposter syndrome and not feeling like I was ready or I was good enough or I wasn't prepared enough. But I just finally said, fuck that shit. I don't care. We doing this together and we just gonna figure it out. I think I know a lot of fucking information. I think that I've done a lot of things to kind of get me prepared, and either it's now or never. The fuck is now or never. So I wanted ancient technology and modern wisdom, and that's why it's an app, so that you can meet from anywhere on your phone. There are going to be a couple of scholarships that I offer, but I've been getting a lot of people who just like, I've been getting more people who want a scholarship that want to actually invest in themselves. So just know that I'm only offering a couple of those scholarships. Thank you for creating this. I'm looking forward to it. Oh, thank you, Kenny. I'm looking forward to it too. But this is a way for you to invest in yourself. I think what I'm going to do is start everybody off at 111. And if you run into financial issues, reach out to me. Don't think that you just got to quit. But this is something that you'll pay monthly, but it is a 9-month program that I'm allowing you to pay over 9 months. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like you can skip a month or anything like that. No, you need to stay in the spiral the entire time, right? Because I think that 111 is fair, and it's the energy of new beginnings. It shows willingness. It shows you're willing to you're willing to invest in yourself, and that's less than $1,000 a year. Because we're only doing 9 months. Hold on, let me tell you what it is. I'm gonna tell you what it is. Not that I gotta prove it to you, because I don't. But I think it's not. Okay, I should have been able to do that in my motherfucking head. That's crazy. I didn't even think about it. But it's $999. That's high priestess energy too. Okay, I like that. So we're going with the energy of 9. Would you happen to know anything about the blue reptilians? Yes. Those are Lyrans. What do you want to know about them? Some of y'all come from them. Not all of y'all, but some of y'all do. Or some of y'all have contracts with them, and they could be helping with, you might have had a past life where you misused technology, and sometimes they're helping specifically with that. One came to me in a vision last night, and it left me puzzled. Oh, okay. What happened? I encountered one because I was doing work on somebody, and she had changed her name to like Anunnaka or something like that. And her spirit team kept on saying, no, her name is like, I think it was like Talia or something. No, her name is this. No, her name is, she needs to change her, because she welcomed in the energy. And it was attached to her crown, and she had been having migraines for like a couple years, and she kept going to the doctor and she couldn't figure it out. And it's because this thing was attached to her, and it kept on saying, she's mine. And I was like, no, the fuck she's not, bitch. Get the fuck on. And so I did some energy work on her. But it was like controlling her though. But it's not that, not all of them are like that. You got to understand there are benevolent and malevolent beings in every single race of star people. You know what I'm saying? It just showed its face and left. I've been having migraines lately as well. Okay, so you probably need to clear your crown. And so what I would do is get you some vinegar and you need to wash your head, like literally wash your crown. Ooh, okay. I started feeling energy around the my head. Anyways, you probably need to wash your crown. Okay. So take some vinegar, wash your crown. I would do a full spiritual bath though with black walnut and wormwood, and soak in it. Um, as you are, you need to reclaim your vessel. Okay. So hold on. Let me give you an invocation. Okay. One thing that you can say is I withdraw my essence from all unchosen futures. I call my energy out of all past distortion. I return to my body. I return to my flame. I return to now. That's not the one I wanted to give you though. Where's it at? Hold on, there's a better one. This will be on YouTube though too. What's this? More than friends, I have deeper feelings to cross the line. Nothing to say. Damn, I just want my friend back. This is triggering. Oh wow, that song hasn't triggered me. That song usually used to trigger me. I must be over it now. Period. I love that for me. Uh, uh. Okay, this is what I want you to say. Okay. By the authority of my oversoul flame and the breath of the eternal source, I release now all contracts, vows, bindings, and agreements made in fear, survival, or distortion across all timelines, dimensions, and realities. I call back my energy from every place it has been given away, hidden, or stolen. I reclaim it cleansed, restored, and aligned with my original flame signature. I anchor now into the truth of my higher purpose, standing as a living embodiment of my flame lineage and oversoul mission. As I breathe, I weave my essence into the new earth lattice. I choose to create from love, from sovereignty, from infinite possibility. May every word I speak, every step I take, and every spark I ignite birth the world we have longed for, a world of harmony, beauty, and sacred neutrality. It is done, it is sealed, it is. I would suggest writing it because when you're writing, you're spelling, you're casting a spell, you're spelling. Okay. That'll be on my YouTube. Um, yeah, that'll be on YouTube. But I will write it out. Okay. I'm about to get up out of here though, because I've been on here for about 2.5 hours and I just kind of want to relax for a while, eat some food. Think I want some church chicken. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just a girl. Um, but you're welcome. Same as my TikTok, but one less J. So it's BIGTAJJ. My entire life has fallen apart this year. What can I do? It's supposed to. This is the year of the snake, which means you're shedding your skin. And so stop thinking it's punishment. That's what you can do. Understand it's initiation. That means that the life that you lived before was not built on the foundation that is going to carry you forward into sustainability. Right. And so this year was supposed to teach you. And so look at what the lessons were in those situations and make different choices, you know? I would go back, Jazzy, if you came into this live late, go back and watch this live on YouTube because I gave so much information about things that you can kind of do to help yourself move forward. But don't take this as punishment. This was absolutely initiation because we're moving into a 1 year, which means new beginnings. It means now we can have forward motion because this year was about rebirth. It was about releasing the things that no longer serve us. It's about us releasing control and us realizing that our worth is not contingent on what we have. That it made us look at our relationships. It made us look at ourselves. It made us look at what we actually want and what we value. It was all about restructuring us around our truth. And so that's not punishment for you, my love. Even if it was the worst of the worst for you, it was teaching you something that you needed to learn. And I hate saying it like that because then it makes it seem like I'm dismissing what you've been through, but I'm not. This year is about rebuilding things on the right foundation. Okay. And so know that you're okay. Know that you're worthy even when you don't have. Know that you are worthy even when you don't have it figured out. Learn how to trust was what this year was about. Learning how to trust, untangling your worth from money and from outcomes, and instead realizing that you're worthy because of who you are. Learning how to surrender to the process instead of trying to control everything. Allowing what goes to go and allow what comes in to come in, create space for new stuff to come in. And so sometimes you got to clear shit out in order for new things to come in because it can't come in until if the space is taken up, right? That's what this year was kind of about. And so a lot of shit had to kind of fall apart in order for us to actually build it on a stable foundation, And so I think this whole year was like a fucking tower moment. I've been through the worst of the worst. I'm struggling right now. I'm struggling financially. I think right now, my biggest thing has been untying my worth from how much I do and how much effort I put out, because I'm the type of person who I just do more. I just offer another service or this or that, and it's just like it causes me to be stuck in this loop of constantly doing, constantly working. And instead, I'll just ask for support from my community, which they showed up for me, and I haven't asked for support since I was a child. My community actually showed up for me. So I trusted them with it, and I just let them tell me if they could what they could do. I have been just trusting, and I have just been like, what, it is what it is. I'm in a transitional place. It doesn't mean that I'm unworthy or that I'm doing something wrong. It just means that we're kind of just moving through a void right now, and things are a little bit hard, and it's okay. I think every day that I wake up, I still continue to be devoted to the things that I have in place. And so I still meet with my clients. I still work out every single morning. I still make sure that I do what I got to do because I'm devoted to me. It's not about me doing these things coming from this place of fears. It's about me knowing that regardless of what happens around me, I'm going to be good. No one has shown up for me. I think I need to learn to rely fully on myself. That's the opposite of what you need to do, baby. Because just because they didn't show up for you, don't mean that you need to be by yourself, because being by yourself doesn't get us what we actually want. It just means you need to get around different people who actually support you, people who don't benefit from what you can do for them. You're just in the wrong room. But don't think that nobody's ever going to show up for you, because that's just not true, baby. That's just not true. And as a person who decided that a long time ago and has been pushing people away for 4 years, I've been pushing people away. It wasn't until I stopped sending out that expectation that people wasn't going to show up for me, that people and I started trusting them to show up for me, that I was surprised. I was surprised. I think we don't realize that we're creating our reality based off of what we expect to happen. So if you expect abandonment, you'll receive it. You have to realize, okay, these people are not for me, and that's okay. Get into a different environment, because I think a lot of us build our relationships on what we can do for other people. And so then we get surprised when they don't do nothing for us, but they wasn't doing nothing for us in the beginning, right? They wasn't doing nothing for us in the beginning. They was never giving us reciprocity, And it was because we was trying to because a lot of us are people pleasers, and we try to give people more what they don't appreciate, and what we think that's not transactional, but what we really want in return is loyalty. And when they don't show up for us, we get mad, but we're not showing up in an authentic way either. We don't know how to prioritize ourselves. And I'm not saying that this is your fault. Let me be fucking clear. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is don't think that you need to pull away from people and that's the solution, because it's really not. It puts you in this place of scarcity, right? And that's gonna not help you to be magnetic. Instead, you just need to get around people who support you, get around people who naturally love you when you're not doing nothing for them. You know, um, find a community. You know, you always welcome in this community, baby. Always and forever. You know, I wish I could help. I got reached out to one of my favorite, well, I ain't gonna say my favorite client, but um, I love her. And she told me that she's been homeless for these last couple of months, and she don't have no family, no family. And I was find myself just praying, like, please just let me come across something so I can help. But it's like I'm struggling to help myself right now. But I think we're going through that in the collective void right now so that we can untie our worth to how much we have and understand even if we don't have, we are worthy. Even when things are going awry, we are worthy. It doesn't mean we got to do more. We just got to learn how to trust. And the more we fight trust, the more we delay the process. And if you decide that you don't need nobody and you move into hyper independence as a trauma response because you think people are going to disappoint you, guess what that is? Not trusting, you know? And so I say this from a place of love and compassion. I say this from a place of love and compassion. That's the opposite of what you need to do. If you need somebody to talk to, hit me up on Telegram, you know? But I will rewatch this live because I dropped a lot of gems in here that can kind of help, you know? I think it's hard sometimes when you're in it though. So if you feel like for a second you need to pull away, then pull away for a second. Just don't stay there forever because you deserve people who show up for you. You deserve people who support you. What you have to offer is not in what you can do for other people, it's in who you are, you know? And so realign with yourself, become your own best friend, love on yourself, give yourself grace, you know, do things that you actually enjoy, and things that you actually enjoy don't have to be things that cause you to spend money. Go to the fucking park, sit outside. I sit on my porch all fucking day, read a book, you know, learn an instrument or watch people sing on the internet. I love that. You know, you can also watch Broadway plays and all kind of shit. You know, like it's other ways that you can have fun that don't cost that are not costly. But don't think that just because you're in a state of grief that you can't actually experience joy either. Hold both things. Hold both of them at the same time. Because if you don't, you'll end up losing one of them. And what going through, like we go through cycles in life. We go through ups, we go through downs. That's just how the shit is. But whether you weather it or not is contingent upon how well you can allow yourself to feel what you feel, but not over identify with how you feel it. Allow yourself to feel it because every single feeling you have is valid. Your reaction to that feeling is not always valid. And every single situation is a lesson. So if you feel like don't nobody show up for you and you always pouring into them, get around new people. But also understand we all struggling right now too. They might not be in a place where they can, but that don't mean that they're intentionally trying to disappoint you. You know? But you'll know who's for you and who's not for you. So get from up around them people who ain't for you, baby. You know? Get around people who actually want to support you. Because there are people out there that actually want to support you. And that's why I want to create this community. You know, like that's why I want to create this community. I actually had somebody my twins, Lisa and Laura, they wanted to be of service to other people. And so they just bought a service to donate to somebody else. And on my last live, I gave it away. We need community, you know, because we so used to being sold the American dream. We think we got to do everything solo, everything alone. We do not. We do not. You know, and that's why I'm creating a cause, because I think that we need community. We need more people who can pull us back when we standing at the edge. We need somebody to grab us by that motherfucking collar and be like, hold up, bitch, we need you. Don't go off the deep end now. You know? And sometimes it's hard for our internal voice to be that when we going through shit. But no, we all going through shit. Like I said, I've been going through shit for the last 3 fucking months. And I've just been toughing it out. I've been communicating. I've been vulnerable. And I feel vulnerable. I was feeling fear for that at first and shame for that. And then I was just like, no, fuck that. Everybody go through shit. I don't care. Everybody goes through shit. I've had the privilege of being able to run this business for 2 years and not need anything. So after 2 years, I have a little small period, and now I'm supposed to just drop everything. And it's just like, oh, nothing's working. Da, da, da. I'm scrambling. No, I'm not doing that, because everything goes through a cycle. And right now I'm just honoring where I am in the cycle. And I don't have all the answers, but I know that my field does. I know that my team does. I know that my ancestors do. And so I trust them. I trust them. And I trust that I'm being guided to where I need to be in order for me to anchor in the frequency I'm supposed to be in order for me to build this school, because I keep getting confirmation on it. And so I don't need the proof in my external reality that I'm that fucking girl. I already know that I am. I don't mind telling people what I'm going through, because I don't have no shame about that shit, because I'm human like everybody else. You human like everybody else. It does suck when you feel alone in that process, though. And that's why I said, call me, beat me, girl. If you need me, hit me up on Telegram. You don't got to do it alone, though. There are people, I don't even know you, but there are people who don't know you and don't have to know you to know that you're worthy of being here, and to know what it feels like to be where you are. I know exactly what it feels like to be where you are, because for 4 years, I pushed everybody away because I was trying to protect myself from disappointment. And then at the end of that 4 years, I was convincing myself that I was not lonely. I was lonely as fuck. I was lonely as fuck. I'm missing intellectual depth and all the things that matter, and I try to do all these things, like learn new things and all of that stuff, because I think that that's what's going to bring me fulfillment. And it does in some capacity. But I think true joy comes from transforming and allowing yourself to experience a different reality, which means you got to do something different, which means you got to choose to trust. I chose to trust my community, and they circled around me. It wasn't all of them, because I still got the one person who probably could help me said, well, let me know if you're really in trouble. And I'm like, nigga, you think I would call you if I'm not really in fucking trouble? But I said, you know what? I'm not going to force somebody to show up for me, because I told everybody, if you're not in a state of abundance, don't help me, because it don't help if we both at a deficit. Offer what you can offer, and that's what it is. And I don't feel no type of way if you can't offer, right? I don't feel no type of way if you can't offer. We all fucking struggling. They going up on motherfucking prices of everything. Every single subscription I got, Netflix, they don't even want me to watch TV around this bitch. It's like, damn, bitch, I'm going through some shit I can't see no TV. Netflix going up, Hulu going up, Southwest charging people for extra seats instead of fixing the fucking seats. All the weight is being pushed on us right now. So don't think you alone, because you're not alone. We all going through it. It's just a lot of us are too busy pretending, and we don't want nobody to see that we going through shit. Nah, we all going through shit. We all going through shit. And I can tell, because I can tell every time we going through stuff, because my services go down. But I'm okay with that. I think we all, around this time of the year, we're falling asleep. And it don't help that they're trying to push all this shit on us while we're asleep, while we're falling asleep, right? Because then we ain't going to have the energy to do nothing about it. Especially as millennials. They've been whooping our ass since we got to this bitch. They done promised us the moon and the motherfucking stars, and they delivered on shit. To the point where we just desensitized. You know what? We are used to you lying to us. So yeah, don't think that you're alone. I literally thought about getting a part-time job today. Well, actually, I have been thinking about getting a part-time job today. And at first my pride was in the way. My pride was like, well, you said you was never going to work for nobody no more. Well, that was when I had the privilege of thinking like that. But when you get new information, you could change your mind. You don't have to be stuck to a certain identity. When you get new information, you can change your mind. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, that's what I had to say about that. Okay? So I'm sending you love. And again, if you need me, call me, be me, girl. I'll be here. I usually suck on the weekends, but since you just told me that you need me, if you show up, I'll show up. Um, Gen Z been seeing the lie play right on now. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I fuck with Gen Z. I don't care if they crash outs. I used to be a crash out myself. Maybe somebody should crash the fuck out because they keep telling us that we just need to endure. If they telling us to endure, we need to be doing the opposite of that shit. Because endure is what keeps them safe. If they making us uncomfortable, we need to make their asses uncomfortable. Stop shopping in their motherfucking stores. Bring it back to the community. You know, you sending the police to our neighborhood. Why don't we just go sit in your neighborhood and just look at you entering in and out your motherfucking house? You know what I'm saying? But I fuck with Gen Z. Wherever you go, I go. So if y'all want to be on that, fine. Let's be on that. I don't care. Whatever we doing right now ain't working. And so if we gotta be on that, then shit. And I ain't say what on that is. Don't be fucking flagging my shit. Authenticity is everything. Love Gen Z. Yeah. They not gonna lay down and take that shit. They're not gonna lay down and take that shit. And I say, cause neither am I. Never was. It was never given that. I knew y'all was a liar when I was asking questions in history class and was like, well, we'll talk after class. Why can't we talk about it right now? What's tea? You know? So, anyways, I'm about to skedaddle. I love y'all though. I want y'all to have an amazing weekend. I'll probably talk to y'all either on Monday or Tuesday. You know, I'm usually on here at the beginning part of the week. But yeah, I want y'all to have an amazing weekend. I love y'all. And I'll talk to y'all soon. Alrighty. Bye.